Good evening and welcome to round 6 of the Australasian Sim Racing Super 2 Championship from Calder Park Raceway. Good evening and welcome better turn that off there, otherwise we get some echoing. But joining me once again in the commentary box is, of course, Benjamin Rhodey Rhodes. Rhodey, how's it going, mate?
Good to be back, Lewis. Good to be here tonight for our sixth round. Our return to Calder Park, and definitely a Calder Park we have not seen before.
No, it's had a few objects added to it to actually make it look like, someone's spent money on the circuit and actually put a little bit of effort into making the circuit. So, those that may have seen the broadcast from both Super 2 and the main championship series last year, they'll see that there's some added boards, some anti-cut curbs, some tents in the pit lane, pit booms, and new pit buildings and stuff like that. So it does look a little bit nice. It's not 100% perfect, but it actually sort of resembles a racetrack now.
Yeah, it's and imagining with those around motorsport, I've seen the stories around Tony Quinn and his attempt to purchase Queensland Raceway and Lakeside Park. This is sort of what we'd like to think what would happen if he wanted to maybe purchase Calder Park instead. This is something that we'd like to see happen with Calder Park in Australian motorsport, but let's not diverge too far. We're here to talk about Super 2 racing tonight.
Yes, we certainly are. And the times, for the most part, pretty close. Damon Woods, who, rumour has it, maybe getting a promotion after this round, but he's currently in practice 3/10 faster than the next fastest car in Braxton Stancliffe, who's looking to bounce back after a couple disappointing rounds. But after that, though, it is very close from Braxton all the way down to... I'm going to have to actually open up my whole page and scroll down. So from Braxton, who's 3/10 off the lead on a 56.3, all the way down to 17th place, covered by a second. And then you've got 2.4 seconds covering the top 24 cars. Mighty close. In fact, there's 25 cars, because I think Dane's got a disqualification there, Dane Liccardo there, and it's kept his time there, but it's actually put him down the bottom of the screen. But so 25 cars separated by 2.5 seconds. Mighty close, and I expect, Rhodey, that long run down to turn 1, it's going to be tricky. I can't see these guys getting through turn 1 cleanly. Not to, say that it's crap racing and there's no racecraft, but just a lot of cars on the grid mixed with a long run to turn 1 and then a heavy braking zone. Generally, it's a concoction which leads to some interesting turn 1.
It's something that we don't tend to see a lot of in motorsport in real life. Such a long run, such a tight corner, probably because it does tend to kind of breed that. And it's not so much the fault of the drivers. You could send 20 grandmas out there and they'll still find a way to fire someone off at the first corner. But yeah, it's interesting. It's something we don't see too much in supercars, obviously, because this track in real life hasn't been used for, I think, at least the last 20 years. And there's nothing else really as a circuit that gets close to this. You have decent runs that say like Sandown to turn 1, but that's a fairly comparatively open 90-degree left-hander with plenty of exit curb to use. This comes down to a front straight that you can get sort of 3 or 4 wide. It is actually also used as a drag strip, which is why you got the nice line down the middle. A 3, nearly 4 car wide front straight that narrows to a corner that is really only about 2 cars wide, and you need to have a good understanding of the guy next to you to make it through there 2 wide. You're going to see some guys get a little ambitious. You know, some guys take probably a little more respectful route and back off a little bit. And it's one of those sort of tracks that would be nice if the race started on lap 2, but it doesn't. So we're going to see how turn 1 fares on that first lap. But it's one of the prime spots for action outside of the first lap. And we're speaking of getting cars down to turn 1. We're about to start qualifying.
Yeah, so it has just ticked over. I wasn't going to bring up the championship standings, but we'll have to bring that up in the warm-up session. So just bear with us here for a minute for all the drivers to, resync, because there's a number of cars out there and the server just 28 cars is struggling just a little bit at the moment, and generally when it does tick over to the next session, we do see the server just syncing everybody up, and there's a bit of lag at the start until it gets going. But also the driver's briefing may just take a little bit longer than normal. There was a little bit of shenanigans going on in practice that had to be addressed. But going out there, we're just waiting there at the moment and seeing in the live chat if Kemp is out there. And just scrolling through, he is out there. He's in the server. He will be racing this evening, but at the moment just waiting for driver's briefing to conclude and the server to sort itself out.
I suppose while we're waiting, we can have a look in finer detail in at least the pit area of this track. So as you mentioned, work has been done by yourself. A lot of work been done by yourself to convert this track to a standard that is more befitting of a Supercars Championship race. And yeah, I'm just having a look through the field at the moment, through the cars, which obviously is showing all the pit garage and all stuff around. And yeah, it does look exactly like you've had teams just rock up they got the trolleys, the toolboxes, their hard cases for some of their softer gear, like some of their audio equipment that they store that all in padded foam. Obviously got the full booms with the two gas bottles that supply the compressed air for the rattle guns. A couple of fold-out tables, which isn't unrealistic because the same sort of apparel they would bring to, say, something like Queensland Raceway round, where they're all under carports rather than a proper garage. But no, it's a really good I suppose evolution of the track from what we're used to seeing, and
it just adds a little bit of atmosphere compared to how it was. So for those For those that hadn't seen how the circuit was previously, so pretty much everything you can see on your screen right now. So we're looking from the top of one of the buildings on the exit of the pits. So this is from the roof of, I think it's a 2-story sort of pit building, as we're looking down the pit straight. So all those tents that you can see in the pit line there, they weren't there. All the booms coming out weren't there. The MHRT boom at the pit exit, that wasn't there. The flags weren't there. That control tower, that wasn't there. Neither was the podium or the grandstands and bridge on the left, and neither were the light poles either. So if you can just take those away and see, it'd be quite bare, as well as the fencing on either side of the circuit there as well. That wasn't there either. The catch fencing, so it was very, very bare, very, very basic. But yeah, now it sort of looks like there's some stuff there, and yeah, it looks a lot more like a race circuit. But we're still waiting here. I'm thinking here, Rhodey, that the drivers are possibly getting a little bit of a spray here in the drivers' briefing. So I'd imagine the qualifying session will get restarted. The drivers will get a full 10-minute qualifying, of course. So at the moment, we're just... well, there we go. There's a reset of the server. So only moments away now from qualifying. And from what we've seen so far, Rhodey, Damon Woods is going to be the man to beat. But after that, I think that's where we're going to see some real racing.
Yeah, looking back through the top 50 times since the server went up earlier this week, Damon Woods with a 55.9, which that'll probably be very much a quality tuned setup. Braxton Stancliffe is sitting second with 56.3, followed by, I think next it's Cheese. We've had a couple of the Kiwis jump in as well across the week, helping out some of the drivers. Tim Redmond and Snipes also recording times, but obviously not here tonight because they're Supercars drivers rather than Super 2 drivers. Dane sitting fourth on that list with Lockie Burke in fifth, and we good to see Berkey back. I think we missed him the last round, so we good to see Berkey back if he is on track, which
he is out there because
so
on the broadcast he does have a different livery compared to the other Walkinshaw cars. So I have put the old Scott Pye 2018 Walkinshaw retro livery, which I think was a throwback to the 2008 car, I believe. That had boost on the side, white and red. So that'll be a bit different to the other Walkinshaw car that Thomas Patching, another newcomer, will be driving. So it'll make it a lot easier to tell them apart, because both those cars in the original livery roadie, as we know, the exact same, can't tell them apart.
Pretty much all it was the number on the window, and there's very little difference between them. So that will be good. It will make it easier for you to tell, and obviously because I'm not broadcast, I can have the names up over the cars, so that's how I make life easier for myself. But no, we get to see those two out there, and as we've been saying on the lead in with the number of cars, we are approaching, and we very nearly were there. Actually, we're back to that stage. We're at 28 cars in the server at the moment, which is one off of a full grid, but for all intents and purposes, we are running a full grid tonight, which is the first time we've had numbers of this size, which I think when the Kiwis arrived, which would be Pukekohe last year.
Well, I don't even think we got 28 for that. So I think, because we are waiting once going through the drivers' briefing, so they're still in practice at the moment, so we won't take notice of what's going on out there just for the moment, but I'll just try and find from last year just the results. So practice 1, if this is the right one. No, that's not the right one. That looks like it's from the main series, but I will have a look and see, because I think for that one we had 24. I think it's 24 or 25. So I think this might be the highest field that we've had.
I think it is I think the only time we got numbers that were similarly server questioning was, I think, the GT3 round we had just after that Super 2 round, where I think we had a hard cap of 25 and we hit that with 30 minutes left to go in practice. From memory. But it is good to see the numbers out there, and I think there's a few reasons coming into that. We've got a couple of the guys coming across from Evolution Racing Team, and one of their drivers was filling in one of your loose sim sport cars at the last Supercars round, Damon Woods. But I think there is 6 or 7 of those guys now milling around the ASR group in some form.
Yeah, quite a number of
guys in here tonight. Meraki is it's Meraki actually under Meraki. Sorry, Melody Smith in here, but Meraki I know through my Forza team on Xbox. Melody is in getting a taste of the supercars to potentially run in the the ASR Supercars Enduros, which we announced early this week, and that's already got, I think, 23 teams registered, which is
quite a number. So
number.
For those that are interested that may not be already registered for that, obviously you are going to need a co-driver. I will bring up an image later on in the evening which has a little bit more information, but essentially probably going to cut the grid at about 30 cars max, maybe 32 depending on servers and the like, but so there's only about 7 sort of registration slots available for teams. Quite a number of drivers or teams that are looking for drivers as well at the moment. So I think there's 3 or 4 offhand that got people looking for a co-driver. So if you are interested, head on over, of course, to the Australasian Sim Racing Facebook page, and from there it'll also have Discord information to obviously jump over to the Discord, and in the Discord you'll find further information on the Enduro Cup as well. So that will be 3 rounds, completely separate from our Super 2 and Supercars Championship, from Sandown, and then it is the Gold Coast finishing off at Bathurst. So we'll need a co-driver for all of those events. So just make sure you've got someone teed up, or you can tag along with someone else. But just going back to the numbers, and I've brought up here race number 4 from AMS Oz Super 2 on the 27th of March last year, and we had a good 24 cars show up for that one, and that was a pretty big field for a very small circuit. And we've got 28, and Brendan Ross, he is excited because we've got a full field. That is right, Rhodey, a full field at Calder.
Full field at Calder, and actually, I think it's the most we've actually possibly even had the capacity to allow into a server outside of some of the more casual series, because Supercars this year has a hard cap at 26 plus. It's about 28. I think we allow in 28 to 29 at the most. It's 26 plus 6 guest cars that are made available, but there's more guest cars available than there are slots to take them. And then even in years gone past, we've had the numbers register across the season, but we haven't had this many numbers jump in. So this is, I think it is a new record for max drivers so far. Touch wood that nothing goes wrong. Max drivers in an AMSO/ASR server to date.
Unless we're not counting TCAC because I think that's had maybe 28.
There was a point where we had a Silverstone North round where we had near 30 drivers and we broke live timing. But we're not counting TCAC in ASR AMSOs. I think this is the most number of people we've had in the server at one time for a official session.
Yeah, so just getting word that we will be advancing in a minute and a half's time. So, a bit of an extended driver's briefing, that's okay. Allows us to sort of just waffle on a little bit, something that Rhodey's certainly good at, something I'm getting better at. Just boring people with absolute bullshit. So, with that, we've got a minute to show people out there doing some laps. So, Nathan Higginson out there in the GRM car. I'll follow along him out there. So he's coming up now to the final corner and looking to get some extra practice in. He's not done... as he gets right out sideways, something we're certainly used to. He's not done too much practice because he's been focusing on painting a number of the retro cars for the retro round next week for the main championship series. And actually got a bit of paid work as well, which is good to see. That... some of his hobbies is he's starting to turn into a real-life job and make money out of it. So it's good to see. It's through turn 1 and out 2 and 3 with the addition of the big orange anti-cut sausage curbs. And now the fast second chicane here, where we've seen many drivers in the past, Rhodey, end up dead or ending up on the other side of the circuit, getting disqualified.
I would acutely know that. I was one of them in our 2019 Super 2 rounds. I think it might have been Josh Ben, who was my teammate at the time. He was one of the other drivers. But no, it's good to see those tie bundles are gone. Many a driver ran a little too wide and did some damage to their car there. So it's good to see that they're gone. And it should be a much easier track. We have talked with some of the drivers. You can go too wide through there. If you're comfortable with the guy you're working with, but definitely raises the blood pressure going through there, even by yourself.
Yeah, plenty of ways you can get it wrong through there. And I think I was a victim last year of took a little bit too much curb on slightly worn tyres at that far chicane. There was no wall there, thankfully, and I sort of just managed to save it on the grass and ended up cutting half the circuit. But I didn't gain any time because I eventually slowed down. But certainly big brown pants moment, that one. And we have seen other drivers when we raced here last season as well, of course, end up having massive accidents. And I think PBF, when we ran the original version of the circuit, Rhodey, I think they had a bit of a disagreement with some of the solid tyre bundles that were at each of the chicanes until they were removed.
That's what I was alluding to, yeah. I think I was the first to go a couple of laps in. I had a relatively tame crash of the 3. Foley was the next to go. He hit the tyre bundle, managed to keep going, but in the effort to get his car back to the pit lane, I think he was he'd broken the cooling essentially on the car. And in the car back to the lane, it's sitting in the lane, then overcooked the engine, and he was out as soon as he got back on track. And I think the engine made another 2 corners before the engine died, so that was his car gone. And while his engine was busy dying, Josh Ben, who was my teammate in the Pro-Am car, clipped the tyre bundle as well, and very nearly made it over the wall on the front straight. So we've got it's a very Hello Darkness my old friend moment going back here, but the tyre bundles are gone, so it's next week for the PBF cars. We shouldn't see anything like that again.
Yeah, no excuses this time around to end up killing yourselves down there at the chicanes now. All right, qualifying underway. 10 minutes, 28 cars. I think there's going to be some broken hearts out there with some drivers getting caught up in traffic out here. Not a very long lap and a lot of cars to deal with, but Lockie Burke will be the first driver out on circuit to set a time.
and he's a brave person going out there and pioneering it. But yeah, 28 cars. If this were a real track, we'd probably be seeing some sort of staged qualifying like they've done in Supercars previously for places
that's a pussy's way out. No, just send them all out there, and if you get caught up, well, so be it. But could see some. I reckon we'll see some slipstreaming out here as well, being the second car or third car in a line here. If you're with someone that's of similar pace, you could find yourself finding a couple extra tenths and a couple spots up the road with that slipstream down into turn 1 and down at the back chicane there. But Lockie Burke, here we go. He'll be the first man to set a time if he doesn't stuff it up. So let's ride on board. So braking at about 150 metres for turn 1. Hasn't quite got the apex there. He's just waiting to get on the power. Now for the second chicane. Down a couple of gears for him. Not using all the curb. Bit conservative there through turns 2 and 3. And now the fast flip-flop. Don't kill yourself. He's managed to live this time by. And now the back chicane's got traffic a little bit further down the road. Shouldn't hinder him, hopefully. But able to pull it up nicely. Uses the curb there, which is a bit of a triangle shape. You can help pull around or pull you around the corner. Got traffic in the way. And, oh dear, that's caused a bit of an incident there with Termo and Matt Cecil, as well as Lockie Burke being caught up in that. So driver's trying to get out of the way. And, well, they've just made it worse for everybody there. But despite that, Burke's still at the top for the moment. But I imagine that will probably get beaten, and it has, with Cheese now in P2. And that's immediately been beaten by Coxie. But we're still not in the 56s, which is a bit of a surprise.
It's a couple of times got an accident started by Meraki, I think just getting, Melody trying to get out of the way and possibly let the rears up on the grass, which spun the car back across the track. Another thing of note I've just seen, Nathan Higginson has left the game, so he's going to miss out on qualifying, which is a shame because he's hasn't got practice he wanted, but he's still had some good pace so far this season, so that's going to start him off the back of the grid. But yeah, as the car's starting to come through now, we've got Daniel Cox sitting on pole position 57.177 with Dan Liccardo just behind, I think, the margin of about 0.2. And we've still got guys out there trying to get qualification. I'm just seeing cars trying to leave the pit lane, cars trying to get the front straight. It's a little bit messy.
Burke's gone to the top now, so he has improved on his second lap. Cheese was another one that we were following that had improved on his own time. It was even purple in the first sector, but his last sector and middle sector not quite good enough. So Burke at the top now. Cox has also moved back up to P2. And I'm actually going to have to go back at the end of this session and turn up my visible cars because cars are popping in and out down the pit straight there. So I've got to be able to see them. And man of the moment, Kemp. He's gone straight to the top. 56.2, I believe, on his first flying lap. But his second isn't going to be any faster as he outbrakes himself there into turn 1. And he's going back to the pits. And we can just see a massive stream of cars down into turn 1. Bit of slipstreaming going on as well with the Techno and Erebus cars down there.
Two cars, Damon Woods has just gone to the top. I say he did just go to the top. Just as I said that, Lockie Burke back to the top again. That with an hour 56.591. So they're really starting to chip into that time. And there it goes again. There's Cheese 0.010 ahead. So that's 56.582. I believe the fastest times we saw in the practice server was a 55.9. Whether they'll get there or not, I don't know. Combination of the traffic and just not having the track rubbered up quite the way they'd like it, but they're definitely starting to bring the times in now. I think no one's had a challenge at that top spot yet, though.
I think it's all to deal with the tyre pressures and tyre temps. It is very cold. Temperatures have been set for the circuit because in the middle of winter here in Melbourne, so you're not going to be getting 30 degrees track temp out here. And it's 12 degrees, and you've got Coxie going a little quicker here as Damien Woods goes to the top.
0.002 better than Cheese, so they're really starting to nip away at those milliseconds.
But yeah, the tyre temperatures and tyre pressures just starting to come up to temp and up to the level that they want. So drivers just staying out there, and it takes multiple laps to get the time out, it seems. And Cox, who's down in 9th, looking to improve. And, well, he's actually lost 10th and a half, 2 tenths there in the final sector. There's still 4 minutes to go. Let's try to cycle our way through here. Damon Woods leads the way, and well, he's off the circuit there. And that'll be Kemp that's just got ahead of him. So what can Kemp do? Of course, Kemp, our championship leader, coming into tonight, is led for quite a while in the championship now. Doing what he needs to do to stay in front, which is stay relatively competitive or ahead of Daniel Cox. Hasn't always been the fastest at every round, Kempy, but he's always been there or thereabouts and hasn't really put a foot wrong all season so far.
That's seen jump on in the last minute or so as well. Thomas Patching, one of the newbies jumping into the second boost car. He's up to fourth currently with a 56.624. Just behind him is Termo with a 56.687.
And he's up again. Here is Thomas Patching as well. So Walkinshaw with two new drivers, or one new driver, I should say. The second seat's sort of been a revolving door. Patching looking to improve. I believe he's also another one of the drivers part of ERT, and he does go to the top by 0.06 ahead of Damon Woods. As we see a number of drivers leaving the pits in the background. Damon Woods is sort of stuck with a little bit of traffic there. I think that's Smith that he's having to contend with, and he's off in the boonies there.
Yeah, it's a little bit awkward, and it was something that couple of drivers were fearing was going to come up, was just the compactness of the track. The other thing as well, which interestingly, that you might not see unless you have a look at our live races server, which is asrleague.liveraces.com, is where the sectors are placed around this track, and this is based off the realistic sectors. Sector 1 is just past the first tight chicane, and Sector 2 doesn't happen all the way up until the run into the final corner. So it produces some very interesting lap subdivisions with a good half of a lap happening in the second sector.
And we've got Cheese on a fairly solid lap at the moment. He's improved on his best. He's about half a tenth up on his own time, half a tenth away from Patching, so he's looking to at least get himself back on the front row. And he'll have a little bit of a tow to help him to the start-finish line here. What can he manage? And he's actually lost a bit of time, so didn't get the ideal run out of the final corner. And now he's right behind. I think that's Taipan there in the monster car.
No, that is... he's just spun off. That is McLaren boss Zach Brown joining us in the car usually run by Cracker, I believe.
Yeah, my mistake. So
down to the last 2 minutes. Braxton Sancliffe has jumped up to second as well in all of that. He's done a 50. I lost the time actually, but he is also improving. He's coming through the middle chicane now. He is up on both his time and the pole time, so we might be seeing a new pole sitter in about 20 seconds.
Well, everybody seems to be going fast in the first sector, so Thomas Patching, his middle and second sectors seem to be the sectors that have got him to the top. And we've got Damon Woods has gone purple in the first sector as well on a 21.0, which is quite handy indeed. So Braxton will come to the line. He doesn't improve. But Damon Woods, though, he's up almost 2 tenths on his own time and a tenth and a half on Patching. And what can he manage? I reckon he might just nick it here. And no, he doesn't. Once again, this is the second time he's been 0.002 off.
I think what we're seeing here is all down to that exit from the final corner, because you can set up such a good run through the first stint, which is really just this second corner complex. The second stint of this lap is the middle sector, which is the longest stint, but if you can string that all together, it works pretty well. But it's all down to how you exit that last corner. Not only that, as well as it ruining your current lap, it also butchers your future lap, because you're slower down that front straight, and that speed down that front straight and the VMAX speed where you hit the brakes is a big part of what gets you speed on this lap.
And Braxton, he's about to finish a lap. I'm not sure if he'll improve, and he doesn't really. He wasn't too far away. And once again, Damon Woods, he's up on the leader's time. He's actually off his personal best time, but looks like he's got a bit of a better exit than what he did on the last lap. Will it be enough to steal pole at the death? And it is. 0.036 for Damon Woods. And I think Patching is in the pit, so he's not going to improve. Braxton's in the pits. We've got Cheese out there at the moment, but he's gone back to the pits. He doesn't improve. Burke has just finished his lap. Termo, I believe, is in the pits. Licato's in the pits, as is Mendez. who just improved by a tenth of a second on his last lap there. Kemp down in ninth, the championship leader. And he's about to cross the start-finish line, but he won't improve on that lap. Robbie Graham will be 10th unless a number of drivers still out there can improve. So I'm just trying to cycle through. There's so many cars to cycle through here. So that was Zach Brown crossing the start-finish line. And I think that's just about it, Brody. I think
that looks like everyone.
Yeah, that is everybody has completed their qualifying runs. And I guess unsurprisingly, Damon Woods has taken pole, but the gap probably a little bit more surprising considering the pace that some of these guys are able to manage in the practice server. Pace not quite at that level, but it is mighty close already with 1.5 seconds separating the top 22 cars there, and 1.6 separating the top 24. And then we've got Walsh, Miles, and Smith there a ways off, and Higginson, of course, has to rejoin the server. So, yeah, very, very close, and I don't think qualifying's, it will matter to a certain degree, Rhodey, but with the way slipstreaming and the way this circuit tends to be, I don't think it's going to matter all that much. It's all going to be about trying to break the toe.
Yeah, break the toe, and it is not one of those circuits where qualifying is the be-all and end-all. There is plenty of places to make a pass here and to set up a pass and to have some actual racing happening. And look, it is a very relatively narrow track out past turn one and in that sort of back infield section, as it were. So potential little bit of potential for some stuff happening there as well. But no, very interesting. 4 of the top 10 is drivers, with the exception of having seen Damon Woods last round, is drivers we haven't seen in the championship before. So essentially 4 of the top 10 are rookies to ASR. That said, Damon obviously did run Super 2s, Supercars, and GT3 in the last week and a bit. But that has somewhat displaced the field because typical quick drivers we're used to seeing, and it also depends on whether you manage to get the lap in or not. But, Toxie's down in 12th. Even sort of Termo, Lockie Burke been a sort of pace setters, or sort of near the front end, a race setting there, 5th and 6th. Dan Liccardo also in 7th. So it's a bit of a shuffle of the order from what we're used to seeing, but I'm interested to see how this plays out across the racing tonight. Yeah,
being so close, I mean, at other circuits, some of these drivers may, their technique may help them find time at corners a little bit different to what we have at Calder. And of course, if you're not really getting those exits, particularly off the final corner, as we saw a number of drivers struggling for a while to get it on top of patching, and in fact only Woods was able to do that. So patching with that exit out of the final corner was able to pick up, hold on to his position for such a long time. And then of course you need that good exit coming out of turn 3. Flip-flop should be flat out there at 4 and 5. And then you're sort of setting up a move there down into turn 6 and 7, which can also, if you get a good run out of 7, you can set up a move at the final corner as well, Rody.
Yeah, so we have seen a couple of tracks across racing. Like Barbagallo is a key one for me when we're talking about this. It's some tracks that we sort of set up a pass and you have to work on it. It's not quite the same here, being a lot of the places you sort of pass are into braking zones, so it's really just become a bit of a last of late breakers move. But there are still, through that last sector, it does still have some flying corners. There is still space there for you to be running too wide and to set a pass up, say, into that right-hander at the end of the back straight, and then carry stuff around the outside of the left-hand to then be on the inside for the final corner. But it's also, do you want to be in the inside final corner because you might be a little late at the throttle, which means you might end up not being where you want to be, and you might have to wait till turn 1 to actually make the pass happen. So we could see passes that take the best part of a near lap to complete, and that's going to test where the skills and the patience of the drivers are. And no, yeah, it'd be interesting to see because it's not all going to just be the first, the last car to the brake pedal is the one that's going to come out of the corner in front. There is some stages here at this track that are going to make a difference, and we're actually seeing, which I don't think we've seen for a long time, drivers setting up for a practice start.
Yeah, generally people just go out there and warm up, and well, we do see some people do one or two practice starts, but generally not a large percentage of the field. So the start will be pretty important. It's a long run to turn one, and if you get a bad one, you're not going to lose just one or two positions. You could lose 6 or 7 if you find yourself in the wrong spot after getting a poor start and then getting boxed out on the outside or something like that. So start is going to be crucial here, because while it is possible to pass around here, you can't afford to lose too much time. And in fact, everybody out there, as you say, they want to practice start.
Yeah, I haven't seen this stuff since I think maybe the very early days of either Super 2 or something we've done in PSAC before. I haven't otherwise seen this outside of ARW, where you and I both raced on occasion. But near the entire field lining up for a proper practice start. So we get to see a couple of jump starts there. I think Clive Anderson kind of patching a little early off the line, but good to see their practice. Oh, that was a big off already. Glenn Miles being caught up in something there. I suppose it's good they're practicing this stuff, because we've come to find when I've raced in ARW that by doing these group practice starts, you get any sort of the silliness out of the way in those practice starts. And so hopefully by the time you get to a race start, the race start itself is a bit cleaner, which obviously benefits, it benefits everyone if the race start itself is a little cleaner.
All right, just trying to find the appropriate camera view. So there's all the Super 2 field just cycling through the chicane. But while we're still in the warm-up, we might as well bring up the drivers and teams standings to see, or to show what these guys are fighting for and the positions that they are in. So as you can see, after 5 rounds, Darren Kemp leads the championship on 1,347 points. Daniel Cox there, not too far away, only 30 points away on 1,317. And then Termo's been able to sneak his way into 3rd place ahead of Dane Liccardo. Dane, of course, has won a number of races this season, but he's been mired with, unfortunately, various incidents and the odd mistake here or there as well. So that's why he finds himself in 4th instead of a bit higher. Cheese, he's been nice and consistent, finds himself in P5. Braxton, who's been up and down, finds himself in 6th place, not too far away from Cheese. And they're not too far away as well is Peter Thrower, who, again, he's been a bit like his teammate, a bit up and down. Some weeks he's up at the front, other weeks he's quick in practice and just can't put it together in qualifying, or puts it together in qualifying and then just falls away in the races. So hopefully tonight goes well for him. And then Matt Cecil in 8th. Bit of a meme with him and tyres, but still finds himself 8th in the standings. Taipan in 9th. And then Freakish rounding out the top 10 in the drivers' standings. Sounds like all the drivers there doing a practice start there. As you can see them just driving by in the bottom left-hand corner of the screen. All right, Teams Championship. So this is the first time this has been brought up this season. And we just wanted to wait until we're a fair way into the season before bringing this up. So Brad Jones Racing leads the standings. The first time you'll see that here or in real life. And 2,340, 30 points ahead of Tickford Racing 1. So Tickford Racing 1, Rody, I believe, is Matt Cecil and Termo. And Brad Jones Racing, of course, is Daniel Cox. And I'm trying to think who the other car, or what the other car is. I think it's the Tim Slade car, the yellow and black.
So the second Tickford car will be the Monster Energy car of was Cracker. I think I can't remember who's in that tonight, but the Monster Energy car. The second car is the Brian Walsh Rebel Club car. That's the second Tickford car. The second Tickford Team 2 car.
Yeah, that's Tickford Team 2. Red Bull Holden Racing Team, of course, Triple Eight Race Engineering as well. Pretty easy for those guys. They're in 3rd. So teams standings is very, very close here. So while the drivers standings for a number of these guys in these teams, in fact, I don't think anyone in the top 4 there is Coxie trying to battle for the championship win there, but outside of that, top 3, at least in Tickford and in Red Bull, those guys a little bit ways off in the drivers championship, but the team able to, both have consistent drivers and find themselves up there battling for the team's championship. And Nissan Motorsport number 2, 2,195, not too far away as well. So top 4, all a shot at the team's championship. Probably a step too far for everyone from 5th all the way down, which is, of course, DGR Team Penske. Then we have Nissan Motorsport 1. Matt Stone Racing, which is a single car entry, so not bad to see that car there. Gary Rogers Motorsport in 8th. Erebus in 9th, although, Rody, I do expect from this round that team to pick up a few points.
Yep,
and they may find themselves ahead of Gary Rogers. If they're very good night, they might find themselves up in 7th, but that's probably a bit unrealistic. And then Walkinshaw and Andretti United, again, that's another team from what we've seen so far, Rody, that could pick up a few points tonight.
Yeah, so both drivers out there for that team that was well tonight, with Thomas Patching starting up near the front for that one, and obviously Lockie Burke backing. He's been the one full-time competitor in that team, so they'll jump up the leaderboard. Obviously, Erebus, I think, having 2 of the Evolution Racing Team drivers from memory, so they'll jump up through the order as well. And yeah, no, it's good to put the team championship out there, because you see that does reward, if nothing else, the season as in general, but it does reward people just turning up and running each round. And a lot of the teams at the front end are cars that don't have necessarily championship-winning drivers in them, but have got drivers that keep plugging away each round and keep turning up and keep getting those points. So it's
it's a reward for those guys that may not be the fastest, that if they work together and just work on their consistency, they can still get a good result in the team standings, which is what we're seeing so far. So good to see. We've ticked over to the race session. You did hear the old sirens in the background. I need to change that to the old R-Factor sound and make everybody deaf. With the announcer telling that all non-essential personnel must leave the grid now. Those that have played R-Factor have got that etched into their brain for the rest of their lives. But here we are here. Drivers coming in and out. The formation lap is underway. And Rody, why don't you run us through the grid here for race number 1 from Calder Park?
Quick one, because there's 29 cars on the grid for race 1. So starting from pole, Damon Woods, debutant of the last round in the number 9 Everest Penrite Racing Commodore. Second is Thomas Patching, debuting in the number 25 Walkinshaw United Commodore, with Braxton Stancliffe in 3rd. Good showing from him in the Red Bull Commodore. 4th is Cheese, first in Altimas, with Lockie Burke, the 2nd of the Walkinshaw cars, in 5th. Termo's in 6th with Dane Liccardo in 7th for Big Mate Racing. Nico Mendez debuting in 8th in the other Erebus car, with Darren Kemp in 9th. With Robbie Graham in the top 10 as well, in one of the Raise Energy cars.
That is his first race as well.
It is his first race as well, yep. Matt Cecil in 11th, with Daniel Cox in 12th, both hard runners in the championship. Tyron Wiseman, another debuter, in 3rd in the Techno Autosports car, with Lachlan Locke in 14th in the first of DJR Team Penske Falcons. Taipan will be starting from the pit lane. I think he's missed the start there in his Brad Jones racing number 14, with Freakish in 16th in the Nissan Motorsport Drive.com.au car. Steve Warwick starting from 17th for Autobahn Lounge Racing, with Xavier Kokai returning again in the number 33 GRM car, starting from 18th this time around. Pete Thrower in 19th in the 2nd of the Red Bull cars, with Justin Cecil in the 2nd DJR Team Penske Falcon in 20th. Ben Hall back in the Cool Drive car in 21st, with Zach Brown, McLaren Boss, making his, I think, Super 2 debut in 22nd.
Oh, he drove last round. He drove last round.
He did drive last round, sorry, my mistake. 23rd for Aidan Sayers, with hashtag not last Josh Watson in 24th. Walshy in 25th, with Glenn Miles beside him in 26th. Melody Smith making her debut in 27th, with Campbell Logan in 28th, and Nathan Higginson starting right off the back of the grid, 29 cars for a certified full grid.
All right, so that is a massive, massive grid. Might be Typeman started from the pits because he had qualifying tyres on, so might not be a bad ploy here if there's a big wreck at turn 1. There's no safety cars, but it may help him. All right, from this camera view, we will be able to see the lights as they come on and go off. But here we go from Calder Park, and looks like a number of drivers spinning the wheels up, and then listen to, I think that's Cheese trying to split the 2 Holdens in front of him. Woods has got a great start as they run towards turn 1. That's a lot of cars to go into turn 1. Braxton trying to go around the outside at turn 1, and he'll actually get that done. So nice move from Braxton, and for the most part looks like we're fairly clean as we get through the first couple of corners. So, well, good job so far from all the Super 2 crew. And now Woods through the flip-flop. Let's ride on board. Well, not ride on board. Let's stick to curb cam as we see the whole field run over us.
Yeah, so Woods coming right at the front. Braxton Stancliffe up to 2nd. Cheese making some moves there up to 3rd, with Dane Liccardo fast starting up to 4th, followed by the 2 Walkinshaw and Andretti cars, Burke leading Patching. Then it's Turmo in 7th, and I think Matt Cecil back there in 8th. And it's just one big conga line at the moment.
Yep, it is very, very busy out there at the moment. But Woods, Stancliffe, Cheese, Liccardo, Burke, Patching, Turmo, Matt Cecil, Mendez, Graham, Kemp, Cox, Locke, Kokai, Wiseman, Logan, Justin Cecil, Freakish, Steve Warwick, Higginson's up a few spots, and there's still a few more after that.
3 wide down here. Coxey's trying to get a move on.
We've got Liccardo off at turn 1 as well. And, it's
an interesting rejoin. Oh, no. All right, we're all good.
All lived, and they're going to go 2 wide here. So both Patching and Liccardo, they're off at turn 1, and Patching right out sideways, coming out of turn 3. And he's got Robbie Graham alongside. And, Graham, he's clipped the curb there. He's in the fence. He's going to keep it going, though. But...
he did the right thing. He gave the Walker 200 car plenty of room, but he did give him too much room and compromise his own line there. He has fed back in roughly where he was sitting, so good job with the rejoin there. He's actually, I think, giving himself a bit of a penalty of some spots as well. He's now sitting back in 15th, probably Graham, but he didn't need to give him quite so much room, but I can appreciate for someone who's never driven with these guys before, erring on the side of caution.
Yeah, so thankfully not too much carnage at the moment, but it's very, very busy out there. So it's like Kokai looking to make a move on Locke into turn 1 a little bit further back as well. It's like Robbie Graham making a move on Campbell Logan as well. Another debut driver out there. As we got our 2 championship leaders, Kemp and Cox, battling it out for 8th place, and Cox has got ahead, and Matt Cecil now looking to put a position on Kemp as well. So championship implications, they're not as high as what they normally are, but still a lot to play for these guys, as Kemp all over the place, all over the back of Cox for P8. And these guys just looking, Cox here, just looking to get a clean breakaway and try and set his eyes forward, but with a big straight coming up, might see some F3 fishies down this straight here just to try and break the toe.
Definitely just behind them as well, we've got Thomas Patching doing the same thing, or trying to make a move on Matt Cecil. He's going to have to outbrake him there. He hasn't quite got the run on him, but no, it's interesting to see the battle's already forming. Matt Cecil much later on the brakes, they're covering him off, and he has made the corner. In front, looks like Coxey a little wide there. He was taking a late apex probably to improve his run on the next
we've got Patch, one of the new guys around. This Wiseman has gone around and it's collected in that process. Kokai, and well, the contact between the two actually meant that it straightened up Wiseman. So Wiseman doesn't lose too much out of that, but disaster for Kokai there. But hot and heavy at the moment for these guys. And looks like on this lap, Cox has just settled just a little bit, and he's actually starting to edge a little bit closer towards Dane Liccardo, who's starting to put Nico Mendez, another guy making his debut, I believe, there in P6. So got a few groups out there at the moment. Woods is just a little bit ahead, 1.8, just edging away from Stancliffe. Stancliffe doing a good job at the moment. And then Cheese as well, just trying to hang on to the back of Stancliffe, 1.6 away. Lockie Burke, he's not too far away from Cheese. He's hoping for a mistake to get in slipstream range, but then they've got a bit of a gap to Turmo, who's got Nico Mendez not far behind, and Mendez has got Liccardo right behind him, and then Coxey, he's starting to close on to the back of those two. Yeah,
so Rose starts to see some little battle pack forming. Liccardo and Mendez, if I remember correctly, where Mendez has come from, another one of the Evolution Racing Team drivers, and Dane having recently started to move into the fold there. So technically, although they don't look like it at the moment, that could be potentially a battle between teammates. So whether they're going to go as hard against each other as they would otherwise, I don't know, because you don't want to be in a post-race debrief between two team members when they run each other off the track. But
yeah, you'd certainly know all about that roadie after Bathurst and ASC earlier in the year. But Matt Cecil and Thomas Patching duking it out here for the final spot in the top 10. Now, Patching has the overlap. If I was Cecil, I'd be staying right behind Kemp and just picking up the slipstream there, which is, he's sort of done that, and he's deep on the brakes, and he's able to just hold on, as Patching doesn't have that overlap. He's not going to be close enough to make a move into turn 2. And then a little bit behind them, Robbie Graham has got ahead of Lockie Locke and Campbell Logan. He's up 14 spots, and this is his first round, so he's doing well at the moment. Don't even think Logan set a lap time in qualifying either, as we see Nico Mendez losing position to Liccardo here. And with those two battling, that has allowed Coxey to move right up onto the back of those guys. But, of course, that's Turmo around at the final corner, so there's another couple spots or a spot for those guys, and for Coxie as well.
By himself as well, which is unfortunate. Probably just getting a little too greedy on the throttle, just trying to get the run in out of the last corner. So that's a shame for Termo, because he was running pretty well up in, I believe it was fourth. Another yellow flag in front of this battle. Trying to pick who that is. So it's Melody Smith off the track.
Probably
possibly put over to let some cars through, or it might be potentially, I don't know, maybe stuck in the gravel.
Probably it wouldn't be stuck in the gravel, because you can't really get stuck. But she's gonna get moving again. She better just, well, she might as well just get going, because that's taking away a passing opportunity down there into turn 1. It's Braxton Stankover right out sideways down there, exit of turn 7. That's the most important battle at the moment is for P6, a little bit further back. Also got Kemp now under attack from Patching. Kemp defensive into the final corner. It's going to compromise him though in the final corner. So his defensive prowess, well, sometimes it's about being smart, and he's not smart there. He can't really defend into that final corner with such a long straight. So Patching is going to get that position. Kemp's going to try and get that move back straight away. Oh, as Patching, he locks the rears a little bit. He's gone deep. Kemp will get that position back a little bit further back. Got Cecil and Graham also side by side into turn 1 as well. And then a few positions back again as Kemp makes a little bit of a meal of that exit.
Cecil as well is around.
Yeah, Cecil is around. So we'll stick with this pack for now. And Turmo looking to make his way further forward after his mistake on the previous lap. So battles all over the place. Spot fires everywhere. And not a fireman in sight at the moment. And Nico Mendez, after losing position to Liccardo, able to stick with him. So Mendez just starting to get back into the groove here. Slipstream probably helping him. A little bit further back, once again, Kemp and Patching dueling down the pit straight. Rolls reverse this time. Kemp going defensive into turn 1. Maybe a little bit of contact there between the two.
And this is going to be a try by fire for both Patching and Robbie Graham behind him. Both obviously debuts to this championship. They've never experienced the defensive driving of one Darren Kemp before, and he is the second most, probably the second best defensive driver out there to our own Netherrealmian. And they might not have experienced defensive driving like this before, and it's all for the most part perfectly legal. They've just got to outsmart him and get it past him, and it's going to test their patience. It's
gone defensive again at the final corner, has Kemp, and again it's going to compromise his exit just a little bit here. Oh, and in fact he's locked. He's got a poor run, lost traction, and he's going to lose 3 spots here, I'd say, with Turmo and Graham also looking to get ahead. So,
he's got a Lockie Lock as well, who he has backed off. So yeah,
he's going to send it.
What?
I thought for a second he was going to just sail into the back of Turmo, which unfortunately we've seen once or twice before with various other drivers. So it's once again Turmo and Graham side by side again, and Graham coming off second best, a poor exit, and he's going to have to fend off Kemp here through the flip-flop. And he does do that. Turmo looking to get through. We've got a car off here, and that is the Milwaukee car. I'm not sure who's driving that this weekend, because it's changed on a regular basis. But we've also had Daniel Cox get by Nico Mendez as well on this last lap. So all to play for here. A little bit further up in the lead though, Rhodey. Something we've missed with all the other battles going on. Mistake on that last lap for Damon Woods. 59.8 for him compared to 57.3 for Braxton Stancliffe. Gap down to, a second now.
That's all you need. I mean, you can be sending out banging laps, but all you need is one mistake. And Braxton doesn't quite have the outright pace of Damon at this juncture of the race, but he's managing to keep there or thereabouts. And he's now at the range where he's going to start to appear in Damon's mirrors, and Damon's going to have to start thinking about him being there, which is going to start to potentially off-put Damon's driving. Damon needs to get his head back down and just isolate that mistake, put it in the back of his brain, and stick back to his racing if he wants to build a gap again. But yeah, Braxton's probably in a good spot right now if he can try and convince Damon to make a few more errors there, that he can potentially have a swing at an actual race to the lead here.
And it's actually hard to believe we've only just gone past half distance in this first race, so it's been pretty hectic so far, and there's still a couple more races to go here. But it's just cycling back through the field. Ricardo's still in P5, is quite a distance off Lockie Burke. So, barring mistakes, I'd probably expect top 4 to probably stay where they are. But Coxie, looking the goods at the moment. He's got ahead of Mendez, and he's not letting Ricardo get away. And this is a great opportunity for Cox in the championship to claw back some vital points on Kemp, who's now down in 10th place after that mistake just a couple laps ago.
Yeah, and that's the thing we're seeing as well is that that's the part of the thing that's helped, I suppose, Coxie in this case with the full field is that, and with whether the new drivers have weighed in themselves at the higher end, what it means is that there is now more spots that can lie between him and Kempy. I'm watching, he's just currently got Campbell Logan all over his backside as they come through the last corner. And the extra paddings of spots of cars in the middle between them means more points the difference. So this is a good round for Coxie if he wants to try and rein in that points lead on Kempy and actually try and make a lead of his own. This is a good chance to do it.
Now, for most of the season, tyres have been a little bit of a talking point with the tyre wear being bumped up to 2 times, as well as 2 times fuel. But around this circuit, Rody, I wouldn't expect there to be too much tyre deg. And for these guys, I wouldn't expect any pit stops because the pit lane's so long. So we may see drivers just maybe just being a little bit easy on their tyres, as we see once again, looks like Melody just parking it there, which she should probably just keep going because it's just taking away a passing opportunity.
Be better for Melody's case, and if we get a break during the cup season, I might have a go and have a chat to her. Best opportunity to let some cars through here is use that nice wide front straight and just run down the inside at 80% throttle. But yeah, taking away a break opportunity into that last corner, that's probably one of the good spots we've seen for passing or for attempts at passing with a nice little while. But she'll get going again once she's cleared the traffic. Another driver we've seen out as well, Glenn Miles, who was the driver in that Milwaukee car I think we saw earlier. So separate incident for him or potentially a lag out for Glenn, but that means a big fat DNF for him in this first race.
Yep. But despite the close qualifying, a little bit of field spread at the moment. A number of drivers have been caught up in battle packs and some minor incidents, but the last couple of laps though, Cox has been getting closer and closer to Ricardo, and he's definitely within striking distance now. He's going to have the slipstream, not close enough for a move into turn 1 on this lap, but he may be able to set up a move further down on the next lap, possibly down into turn 6 and 7.
Yeah, at this point for Coxie, all he needs to do is, at the very least, just sit there in Dane's mirrors and have Dane think of something other than the track in front of him. Have him trying to multitask and keep an eye on where Cox is as well, and maybe
poor run.
Makes a mistake, as in that case, a bit too much to the left-hander, right up on that anti-cut curb, which is put him now right there, and he is now within range of a lunge.
And he's going to go defensive, is Ricardo, and Cox is just going to try and set up an over and under. And again, he's going to try it for the next corner. It's all about trying to tee up a move later on, because you're not realistically going to get a move done at turn 7. He is, again, pretty close here at the final corner. And who gets the best run? And I think it was Ricardo this time by slightly better exit, as Lily Smith has got herself a drive-through penalty. That's Cox could have a stab from there, but probably not going to pull out for turn 1 as they come up on Smith.
And she's done a right job there. I suspect what she possibly might have done with Roy Sawyer is she's done the front straight, so either it's a track cut on the front straight or she's potentially taken the pit lane, but not gotten the car down to speed in time. It is a fairly slow pit lane for the length of it, only 40 k's, and there's a very long pit lane here. It's the full length essentially of the front straight up to the start finish line. So I imagine that's what she's done to pick up the drive through. So she will have to serve that pretty soon. But I suppose that does help her case in a way, because it does her game at this point just seems to be keeping out of the way, and driving down the pit lane for a drive through does keep you out of the way.
Yeah, it certainly will, but it's going to be a long lap. As we cycle a little bit further back, got Patching now coming under attack from Turmo, and Kemp still under attack from Campbell Logan, up 17 spots in the Preston High Team 18 car, so he's done a good job so far. But he's hit a bit of a brick wall here roadie. But touched on it earlier. The old Kemp School of Defensive Driving, and can't find a way past, which is enabling Wiseman to close up onto the back. We've also got Nathan Higginson up 16 spots here as well, so he's starting to close in on the back of that pack as well. So he's looking to make that 4-car train, and he's doing a good job at the moment. So started at the back, and he's gone forward as opposed to falling backwards, which we've seen from him from time to time.
Well, that's the advantage for Higo starting off the back is the only way he can go is forwards. So anything in the race above last is a technical improvement. But no, Higo, he was on, I think, decent pace from memory in the practice over. He didn't get a chance to qualify, so he had to start from the back. So essentially this is his qualifying race. I don't think he's going to get himself into the top 10, so he's not going to be at risk of being thrown a pole position or front row start in the next race. But this does essentially reset his weekend back to where he thought he'd be, and this puts him in a position for the next race to start maybe challenging for the back end of the top 10.
And here we go, Kemp and Logan side by side into turn 1. Logan has the inside, he's just got to pull it up, and he does, but Kemp's going to just drive around the outside of him there. A little bit of contact in the mid part of the corner, but nothing too untoward there. And again, side by side through 2 and 3 for these guys. Logan gets a better exit though, and he'll finally take that position. So good side-by-side racing between Logan and Kemp. But poor run through the quick flip-flop there. And Kemp is straight up the inside. All that hard work is undone. But Logan will have the inside for 7. But he's lost it. He just clipped the grass on the exit. And yeah, again, all his hard work undone. That's another spot for Higginson and another spot for Wiseman.
Yeah, I'm saying Higo not potentially in a range of a top 10, but he is now only a couple of seconds off the back of Kempe, who currently holds the top 10. It's probably why Kempe is pretty staunchly defending that spot, because that spot will turn into a pole position start for him in the next race if he can hold it there for the next 3 or 4 laps. But another yellow flag down turn 1. I expect that is for Meraki again.
Walsh. That's Walsh. He's off in the grass down there in the exit of turn 1 because Turmo and Patching just going through that. And Patching got his lights on. He should probably turn those off. So if anybody's listening to the broadcast and in the same Discord as him, just tell him to shut them off. And seeing both Hans, Tim and Rossi all saying in the chat not to pump up Higo too much because he's bound to throw it off the road. You know what? No. Higo is doing a fantastic job. And I reckon he's going to get a top 10 here, 100%. Got these two, Wiseman and Kemp, battling hard in front of him. He's just going to have a real go and get that top 10. So I'm not pumping him up. You're pumping him up. And Higo on for a good result here in these next couple laps. Got yellows out again at turn 1. And, well, that's going to upset a few drivers down there. Smith off again. Again, should probably just get that car moving. And Cox and Liccardo still duking it out for 5th place. Is in the background there. That was Nico Mendez right out sideways. The flip-flop there. And being asked, is this the pinnacle? This is the pinnacle of Super 2 Motorsport. Sorry, Pixel Sport in the entire globe. So, there you go. But another thing we haven't picked up on these last couple laps as well, Cheese just starting to fall into striking distance of Lockie Burke starting to just get into striking distance of Cheese in these last couple laps. So he'll be hoping for a mistake from Cheese. And it's actually had a fairly decent run through turns 2 and 3. There has Lockie Burke here. So
to have a look into this next corner. She's got another good run through that chicane.
She's gone defensive.
On the outside. She's on the inside defensively. Berkey going to go round the outside.
You can do it. He's going to have the inside. So good, smart driving from Lockie Burke. And he's going to get the job done. She's going to have a look at the final corner. Burke gives him the space. But you're probably going to get a better run being on the outside at that final corner. They're both right outside, both struggling to hold on to the car. Burke will have the position, but Cheese will have the slipstream as we start the final lap.
Unbelievable, we're ready. So, looking at the other battles across the field, it looks like Liccardo might just hold off Coxie. The gap has actually increased a little bit to just over a second, so Liccardo might just be safe. And looking back at the top 10 battle as well, we've got another yellow flag. It looks like Rolchi off there. Kempe just lapping some traffic, and Higo looks like he has he had caught the back of Tyron Weissman, but Higo backs in.
Nah, he's been robbed. Higo has been robbed. Something's happening there.
Robbed, yeah.
It's not been a mistake. He has been absolutely robbed here. Insert the Adelaide Crows fan circa 2007. But coming up to the start-finish line, we haven't seen much of him outside the start of the race and after a little mistake. But Woods will take race 1 comfortably in the end. So after that little minor wobble, he's done absolutely nothing wrong. And Braxton Stancliffe, very solid P2. And on another day, it would have been a win. But to only be 7 seconds off Woods, it's a great effort from young Braxton Stancliffe. Lockie Burke will hold on to 3rd place. A good drive from him. One of his best that we've seen. Certainly in recent times as well. Hasn't been able to get too much car time due to real-life commitments. Cheese coming home in P4. He'll be disappointed not to hold on to the podium position in the end, but still a solid drive. Ricardo home in 5th. Coxie home in P6, but he's going to get a good handful of points on his championship rival there. Nico Mendez. I believe this is his 1st or 2nd round here. ASR home in 7th, good from him. Patching on his debut home in 8th place. Sermo home in 9th. And then Kempy home in 10th place. He stole that position off Nathan Higginson there. Tyron Wiseman home in 11th on his debut. Higginson coming home in 12th place. Up 17 spots from the fella that normally fences it by driving too hard. So great effort from him. This is the turning point for him. And he is going to come through and win the championship. I'm calling it now. And then we have Steve Warwick, we didn't see much of, but did see him, I think, in the back of one of the shots on lap 1, having a bit of a off. So he's done a really good job to come back and finish 13th, and not too far away from Nathan Higginson in the end as well. So good job from him. Cecil home, Justin that is, in 14th. Campbell Logan home in 15th. Was running as high as 10th place for a little bit there, but couldn't quite hold on. Must have made a couple mistakes towards the back end there. Lucky Lock home in 16th. Matt Cecil home in 17th. So something must have happened to him in this one to see him drop down the field. I think it was a spin, Rudy, coming out of turn 3.
Yeah, there was at one point, yep.
So he was in a good position, but threw it away. Hall home in 18th. Freakish home in 19th. Type In home in 20th. Oh my God, there's still so many more to go. Then we have Zach Brown, McLaren Team Boss, home in 21st. Peter Thrower home in 22nd. A lap down. Josh Watson, hashtag not last. He's ahead of a number of people out there. Home in 23rd. Aiden home in 24th. Graham, who was running fairly well for the majority of that race, coming home in 25th. So there's a drama there that we didn't pick up on. And Kokai didn't finish in the end there, so I'm not sure what happened there. But that's 26 ahead of Walsh, 2 laps down. Melody Smith DNF, and so did Glenn Miles. And I need a drink because that's a lot of talking and a lot of names right there, bro.
It is. It's a lot of cars to go through, and we always said this with the Super 2 racing this year. There's never been a spot. We've never been short of the action, but especially tonight with that many cars. And yeah, there was a bigger field spread than we saw from qualifying, but it was still arranged in a way that there were cars battling. There were cars coming up through the field, cars that are moving back through the field as well, whether it was from mistakes or mistakes from other drivers or just over driving on their part. Obviously, Higo, one of the big movers up through the field. Kempy dropping back at one point. Matt Cecil also dropping back. I believe there's an incident involved there for him as well. But no, some really good racing. But no, it's a lot. There's a lot to cover there, and 22 laps. That went by a little quicker than I thought it would, and we still got another 2 22-lap races coming.
Quicker? Oh, that went longer than I thought it would. 22 laps around Calder Park? No, that'll take 20 minutes. That won't take too long, but there's a lot to deal with there. A lot of cars to sort out. And our good man Scott Nolan has sorted out the championship standings straight away. So thanks for that, Scott. And, the championship lead to Darren Kemp is now down to 18 points. So 14.20 plays 14.02. And, Termo made up 3 points on the championship leader there, but he's lost ground to Daniel Cox. And Ricardo also able to pick up just a few points as well on all of those guys. So making it interesting. With Ricardo only 3 points behind Termo. Those guys still within striking range. Cheese, again, another good run there. He's still fifth in the championship standings, but he's going to have to worry about Braxton Stancliffe, who just coming that little bit closer. And Cecil and Throw are having poor runs in that one. Well, let's drop them off the back of Braxton and Cheese. So those guys got a bit of work to do next couple of races if they want to stick around there. And then we've got Taipan, Freakish, and Warwick rounding up the top 10 to 11th place. Alrighty. Now, I've got to find some time to give myself a break here, actually. But no, just to run through the format once again. So there is 3 races on the night. Now, the grid for races 2 and 3, Rody, I'm just trying to remember if they're both reverse top 10.
The top 10. So that's the reason why Kempy was holding so hard to 10th when he got there, because that will put him on pole. And obviously, race 1 winner,
Damon Woods.
Damon
Bill
Woods.
Woods, our man Bill Woods for Channel 10.
Bill Woods will drop to 10th. Everyone behind that will be starting from where they finished. And I think technically, for anyone who DNF'd, they will probably be put to the back of the grid compared to the starters. But add that in the field, I don't think it makes too much of a difference. But yeah, to simplify that sentence, reverse top 10, the rest of the grid will start as they finish the first race.
Yeah, so should be quite interesting. Obviously, Damon Woods is going to have to come through a number of cars there, and of course, Darren Kemp being a difficult man to pass, he's not going to make it easy for him. But with the pace advantage that Damon seems to have, he should probably pick his way through. He's just got to take his time. But we are in the warm-up session between the sessions, so I'm actually going to try and plug some stuff here. So bear with me. You're going to have to update some stuff. Now, I know there's a special livery, Rody, that you want to sort of demonstrate or show off the retro round stuff, but just remind me, we'll do that between races 2 and 3. But while we've got a number of people watching on, might as well promote some other stuff here. So just bear with me. I just got to upload them into OBS. But yeah, we do have a number of series kicking off. Number of series kicking off in the second half of the year, and this is a favourite from years back, Rody, the Super Series. So they did have altered physics back then. They were a little bit faster, had a little bit of extra power on a different tyre model, but these using the stock cars, Rody, still nice and easy to drive, 4-wheel drive, both the R and the RS, and we've already got a massive field for these things.
I think they're pretty close to oversubscribed to these cars. Yeah, no, they've sold really well. We've got last Super Series champion Brenton Hobson returning as well. Scott Nolan jumping in as well. We can see one of the SSR cars on the poster there.
That is Hobbo's car.
Sorry, what was that?
That is Hobbo's car on the poster.
That is Hobbo's car. Yeah, sorry, that is Hobbo's car. Yeah, sorry, I've got the stream in a smaller view, so I can not mention it. But no, we've got a Niffle grid. I think we initially just had a cap for the RS, the faster class, but that might have been removed. So I think we're sitting at 14 or 15 cars in the RS class, with the remainder being made up in the R class. PBF, I think, is running a 4-car team. Obviously, SSR is jumping in. And this is the series that started off what we now know as TSAC. And very appropriately, this will be broadcast. I'm not sure the full details yet, but we are going to have TSAC commentary royalty in Fleddy and Kiwi helping out with the broadcasting for this series. So we're back to Tuesday night broadcasting. We haven't had that for since midweek broadcasting, which I haven't had since TCR that you and I did about a year and a bit ago. And no, this series should be pretty good. Fairly easy cars to run with, but by no means slow cars. And no, the racing should be very good in this race, and the broadcast quality as well. So it's a good throwback to sort of where things started, and it's a good way to sort of roll back into things again.
Yeah, I think just the field size alone is going to guarantee that everybody's going to have somebody to the race. And then I think something that we put an emphasis on when putting this together was selecting circuits that would really suit these cars. So you don't want to go and have these, what are essentially road cars with, some slightly go faster bits and maybe some slick tyres on them. You don't want to be going around full-length Grand Prix circuits and, banging out 2.5 minute lap times. It can get quite tedious, and they're not really suited to that. So we've put together, a list of tracks that are fairly short or sort of national layouts, and they'll also provide good racing with pretty much every track on the calendar there, Rody. Just good fun tracks to drive these cars around on their own, let alone to have other cars to race as well.
Yeah, so a couple of tracks on that, obviously Miller, something we haven't seen in a while. Malawa hasn't turned up on the calendar for a while, and I don't think we've ever run Wakefield Park, so it'd be good to see that make its debut. Lime Rock, people have driven before, but I don't think we've seen that here before. Winton, not so much a fan favorite in supercars, but it does produce some good racing in the right sort of cars. Lakeside comes across from the Group A series, and that was a great little boring track. So this would be good. Oran Park, fan favorite. Manfield, Circuit Chris Amon for the Kiwis out there, and then Long Beach, which I know one Luke Rosella absolutely froths.
Yeah, we've had to tell him that he's got to do more than one round. He has to drive another round to drive that circuit, so so he doesn't just show up for the last round. But yeah, it should be a good series. It's just about to tick over. But we do have another series as well that we are running. So now, the Aussie racing cars, again, this is pretty popular already, Rody. It's not being broadcast, but I do imagine, this being a more casual series, it's going to be pretty enjoyable. Those cars generally are pretty fun to drive. Utilising, I think, all stock content or all stock tracks outside the skin pack isn't stock, but the tracks certainly are. But random draw, something we haven't done. So we do have a list of circuits that are going to be drawn out on the night and then selected, so we don't have people practicing in the lead up to it. So it just keeps it a little bit more interesting. It was
a concept brought to us by Will, and I'm helping Will out with running this series. And fully randomized, all stock tracks. They're all been selected to be fairly short and be fairly good for racing on these cars. Not too short, but there are some that are sub a minute a lap. Some of these things, and some that go past a minute and a half. So we've set some framework up, but there's 20 tracks we picked from. We've randomized the numbers they're assigned to, and then we'll randomly pick a number on the night. We've got I believe it might have been somebody mentioning something to do with a D&D dice roll kind of concept, where we're going to have, I think, something like 12 tracks or 8 tracks on that list, and then there'll be and then once one of those tracks is drawn, a new track takes its place. So it'll be completely randomized, but we will broadcast that on the night. And it is something that we know what tracks are going to be used. Possibly, but obviously we don't know what tracks are coming. So the idea is that nobody can put any practice in outside of what we give you, and it is just a rock up and race kind of series. So people aren't sweating, 2 or 3 weeks beforehand, because that can kind of ruin things for some people who don't have the time to do it. So it hopefully levels the playing field a little bit, and we've also sold out. I think I had all the ARC 2018, the actual Aussie racing car liveries picked, and it's just the guest cars that are available now. So that series should also go pretty well.
Yeah, I think both those series are going to be quite good, and I'm sure there's going to be people just having an absolute ball in both those. I can't wait to see how the Super Series pans out. A number of drivers have come along that could challenge the throne of Brenton Hobson, who's had a bit of a stranglehold on the TCAC / Super Series Championships. So could be quite interesting with the likes of Luke Rosella if he does every round, or Damon Woods, as we've seen, be quite handy to see if they could give Hobbo a run. But we've ticked over to the race session for race number 2 here, and hopefully everybody's able to make it on the grid this time, Brody.
Yeah, so we're looking at 28 cars now. Somebody has dropped from that list, and I wish I could tell you who it was. Short answer, no. We'll get through the grid and I'd probably know someone who's not there. But you're still at 28 cars, which is still some very good numbers for tonight. And they should be getting underway for the match pretty soon.
All right, so I'll run through the grid for this one, Rody, and you can do the final one later on. All right, so starting from first in this one will be Darren Kemp. Of course, our championship leader. Didn't have an ideal first race, but we'll see how he goes in this one. Turmo was quick, but made mistakes. He'll start from second with Thomas Patching right behind him. And we have Nico Mendez in fourth. Daniel Cox, he'll be hoping for a good start in this one. He starts fifth. Ricardo will start sixth. I think that's around about where he started in race number one. Cheese will start in seventh, followed by Lockie Burke and Braxton Stancliffe. And then our race one winner, of course, Damon Woods, will start from 10th place. Torrin Wiseman will start from 11th place with Nathan Higginson. Look out for him, Dark Horse. He'll start from 12th position. Steve Warwick will start from 13th with Justin Cecil behind him in 14th. Then we have Campbell Logan and Lockie Locke in 15th and 16th as we see some checking up there on the pit straight there. Hopefully there's no incidents that come from that. Then we have Matt Cecil, of course, 17th. Ben Hall in 18th. Then we have Freakish. He will start in 19th. Taipan not starting from the pits this time, so he should make up a few spots in this one. Then we have Zach Brown, McLaren Team Bosch, starting in 21st. Peter Thrower in 22nd. He'll be looking to move forward. Josh Watson, hashtag not last, starting 23rd once again. And then we have Aiden in 24th. Robbie Graham in 25th. And Xavier Kokai, 26th. Brian Walsh, 27th. And Melody Smith in 28th. So out of all that, Rody, you're going to have to work out who is not here from race number one. But we're about to get underway. Just having a little bit of look here. A number of drivers pointing to the left or to the right. Looks like Logan just out of position here. Doesn't know where to go. Just below us here. There we are. Mate, a little bit further forward, champ. Come on. Phil, a metre. Come on. A little bit further. A little bit further. Come on, buddy. Come on. And, that's a massive angle for Cecil, but looks like it's ticked over here. Lights are ablaze. And away we go. And Kemp's got a poor start. Fantastic start from Thomas Patching, and he's going to go straight to the lead. He splits the two green cars. He's in the lead, but to turn one they come. Will they get through cleanly is the million-dollar question. And so far, well, no, they're not. So we've got a Nissan off, and the Monster Energy car is off. And, they've got a bit of work to do in this one. But Patching leads, Turmo second, Kemp already down to third with Ricardo and Nico Mendez right behind.
Yeah, so brilliant start there for Patching. Just nailed that run, and obviously a couple cars in front didn't get there. Turn up for second. Turn starting for second, and managed to hold second in amongst everything else happening around him. Obviously, reverse top 10 meant
and they're three wide at turn 7.
It's chaos behind Woods, Mendez, Cox.
There's been contact, and looks like Higginson got a nudge from Steve Warwick, and that pinballed him into the back of which car is that? That is Campbell Logan. So Smith off as well. But Patching, he's got a clear lead at the moment. And, I've got Kemp defensive already. He's got a number of cars behind him. Ricardo's going to try and go around the outside of Mendez at turn 1. And Mendez says, not this time, buddy. But again, going to try and go around the outside. He'll have the inside for 3, but he's got to mount the curb. It's going to cost him a run. And that may cost him a position to Woods here. But Woods has to back out of it. And that may cost him a position to Cox. So it's all happening here early on.
Angry train from I think Cox all the way back to Matt Cecil or Torrin Wiseman. It's a good sort of 8-9 car train, and Ricardo's in that position where he wants to make a move on Kemp, but he's got to do it without compromising himself to Woods. Woods in a similar position. If he wants to make a move on, Ricardo has to do it without letting Cox buy in. But the house started to split, so it's Kemp, Ricardo, and Woods breaking away from Cox. And then just behind Lockie Burke and Nico Mendez having a run into turn 1.
It's cars all over the place here into turn 1. Burke deep under brakes looking to get by Mendez. Mendez again looking to stick it around the outside. He's in the opposite position to last time. He's got the better run out of turn 1. Burke's going to go deep under brakes into turn 2. A little bit of contact. We're going to go side by side through 3. And, Burke might find himself losing a couple positions here. But there's a big gaggle. right behind Nico Mendes at the moment, a little bit further up the road. And we've got a bit of a gaggle behind Kemp as well, who's holding on to third. Just as a bit of nose-to-tail action between Coxie, Woods, and Liccardo there. Hans would know all about that train action right there. All in contact between, once again, Liccardo, Kemp, and Woods. And now this pack, it's turned into a mega pack here from Kemp all the way down to Steve Warwick.
It's nuts, and there's some good racing all the way through. Higo also trying to bind to the back of that train as well, Steve Warwick, and then another little train behind him, another 6 or 7 cars. It's just freight trains everywhere, which is very appropriate. There is a train line just outside this racetrack where freight trains do come through, very appropriate. We're seeing a couple of freight trains here tonight.
Yeah, they're just to the right-hand side of the screen. Again, bit of contact there between Kemp and Liccardo, and Coxie also getting involved in that. Yeah, just to the left of screen. Now to the right of screen, there's the depot for the train line out there. It's just being built. But look at this mega train. Out of all this, it's allowing Patching to edge away as well as Termo. Those guys are 5 seconds down the road now, and these guys all probably quicker than those two. But Kemp just blocking everybody, and I think he's got a little bit of a tap there, but to be fair, when you're that defensive, at some point someone's just going to give you a nudge and just go stuff it.
I don't think it was an individual effort there. I think Dan was a little late under the brakes, as was Woods behind him. So they kind of drilled into the back of each other, which then moved Kemp a little wide. Kemp's very hard trying to keep Coxie behind. Obviously, championship implications between those two, with Nico Mendes trying to go around the outside of the pair.
Burke's off. He's locked up and gone off the circuit at turn 1, but I wouldn't be too happy if I was Coxie there, because it's cost him a position to Mendes out of all that, and he was forced onto the grass. Oh, something maybe we'll have to deal with later, but probably should have left a little bit of space there, should Kemp. But Woods has also got by Liccardo there, so he's got that move done into turn 1. We'll park the replay for now, as we see once again Cox looking to make a move on Mendes at the final corner. Can't make a little bit of contact, and he's lost a bit of a run there, but it may have actually helped Nico Mendes a little bit, because he's right behind Kemp now, and he's got the run. Fastest lap of the race for Woods. And Mendes going to try and go around the outside. Might be good for Cox here, if those two battle and just hold each other up or send each other off the road here.
Still stuck behind Kempy, although Nico has possibly his advantage just got through here. He's going to have to give Kempy some room through the slow chicane, and then obviously I think some room through the flip flop, or it's going to be a bit of a challenge. No, he has backed out, which has actually impacted Coxie a little bit, which has brought Braxton now into this battle as well, and he's looking like potentially making a move past Coxie. He would have gone for a move, I think, but Nico Mendes was in his way, so slightly boxed in there by the Erebus Penrite car. But this has brought that train back into line again, and it's
again Cox up the inside, and Mendes just closing the door on him, even though he's alongside there. It's a bit of contact, but it's not really cost them time here. At least in regards to Kemp. Kemp immediately to the inside of the road. Now, Cox could box. Well, that's his not very smart driving.
No.
And, well, that's a bit of karma, I would say. There was a car next to him. And Mendes just wanted to chop the nose. In real life, that probably would have been a Craig Lowndes type incident, but Kemp has been able to live out of all that. Same with Kemp, and we've got Melody Smith off there, just parked, and that'll be a yellow flag down there in Sector 1, but it could have been a lot worse. Could have been a massive train wreck. Instead, it's only one car off, thankfully.
Yeah, there was never move for Mendes to go to the inside of Kemp. That door was firmly closed, and then coming across, and very much, I'm surprised that Coxie wasn't killed in that big wiggle from Braxton Stancliffe there.
Right out sideways, as Parramatta Speedway style there from Braxton Stancliffe. Still fairly close to Kemp. He will get a little bit of a tow, so he might be able to set a move up into turn number 1.
All this has done as well in the end is very much helped Coxie. Trying to get past Kempy for the past couple of laps. He's now got past him and actually is now starting to chum in the back of Liccardo as well.
And Braxton tried the long way. Was very deep under brakes. Couldn't quite make it stick. And again, there's a couple dings on the back of that Nissan, and the way it's going, it wouldn't surprise me if there's a few more by the end of this race here.
By the end of the race, Kempy's rear bumper is going to resemble the surface of the moon.
Yeah. It's gonna look like a golf ball. But again, and around the outside, Cheese around Braxton, and Burke's done the move on Cecil that he did in race number 1 on Cheese there around the outside at turn 6. And then out of all that, Cecil then lost out to Wiseman. So you don't want to get shuffled out here in these battle packs because you'll find yourself down a couple spots.
That's the thing as well with Kempy still running to the cork in this bottle. He's forcing all the cars behind, as we see Ben Hall there, letting the cars through. He's very much forcing the guys to race amongst themselves, which is why we're seeing the racing with Matt and Berkey and Braxton and Cheese, and they're all just trying to get to the head of the queue to then have a chance to try and get past Kempy, but Kempy's not giving them any quarter.
Oh, but here we go. Cheese around the outside. No, not quite. And
no, he just wasn't quite there. And Kempy, it's frustrating behind someone who can defend as well as he is. And as far as what we can see, this is all legal by Kempy. It's just really frustrating because you've got to outsmart him.
Big dive. Will he pull it up? No, Cheese didn't quite pull it up. And we also had moves on between Braxton and Lucky Burke as well. And again, Kempy ultra defensive into that final corner when he didn't really need to be. I think I heard some contact as well there. In the back,
Robbie Graham and Matt Cecil having a bit of a squabble back there with Tyron Wiseman. Well, that's forming its own separate little train with another car. I think might be Steve Warwick behind the three of them.
Right, so here we go. Round 700 between Cheese and Kemp into turn 1. And Cheese going around the outside. He's not going to pull that up, and he's going to lose a couple of positions there, but didn't lose too badly out of that one. Could have been a lot worse. And, well, now it's on to you, my young friend. And Stancliffe, what can he do with the brick wall in front of him? That is Darren Kemp.
It's a case of what he can do about Kempy. Not only that, he's still got Berkey right behind as well. They're having their own little race, and if they're going to start swapping like this, they're going to bring Cheese into it. They're also going to not have a chance to try and cleanly pass Kempy. And what they really needed, one person to make that move definitively, get Kempy off his rhythm, so the rest of them have a chance to make a pass. If they sort of think very insular and very selfishly about this in terms of every path is one I should go for and every spot matters rather than just trying to get past Kempy and then think about the big picture from there. They're going to be stuck here for the rest of the race.
Yes, it might take something a bit drastic for that to happen a little bit. Oh, deep on the brakes, Braxton. He's not going to pull that up. See you later, mate. He's ended up in the housing suburb just down the road there. So, well, that's him out of that battle, and now it's on to Lockie Burke. Now, we did see him go around the outside in race number 1 and earlier on in this race at turn 6. Now, will he do it again here? Kemp, we would expect to go ultra defensive. Yep, there we go. And Burke, if you can just hold on, we'll give him the inside for turn 7. He's going to try it again here. And he's done it. There you go. He has shown everybody how to do it, but he's got a little bit sideways though. And got traffic on the inside.
He's getting out of the way.
And now I've got yellows out there again, I think. That's again.
But he's got to run, and he's going to be on the wrong side of the road here, but if he can get around turn 1, and he might have a chance somewhere.
He's got ahead here. Kemp's going to go deep, and now he's going to just block. He's going to try and undercut.
Cheese is barging through there as well, so that's ruined Berkey's move, because Cheese was trying to make a move there as well. That's what I'm saying. They need to think big picture. They're thinking about their own races. They need to think about their races as a whole. And if Cheese hadn't gone for that move, Berkey could have maybe got a pass done. I see one of the cars already Graham round in the background. If Berkey was able to make that move, it would have potentially helped Cheese in the long run. But instead, they're all still stuck behind Kempy, and we're still here 5 laps later.
And a little bit further back, I think that's Stancliffe and Warwick there. And that was Wiseman must have gone off the road there as well, because Steve Warwick's taken that position. But once again, another lap, another defensive move or line into turn 1, I'd imagine here from Kemp. Yep, to the inside he goes. And Burke going to try the inside, is he? Why not? Not really much room there. He's going to force it. Well, again.
All that happening. He was on the grass, 2 wheels. He was not going to get that stop, and he's going to be frustrated. But Kempy made his intentions very clear earlier on. There wasn't going to be space there to make that move.
No. It's now it's up to Cheese. It's almost like a Royal Rumble here, or Battle Royale, and he's just knocking them all off at the moment.
Tag team battle royale.
And Max and Stankley having a look at the inside of Warwick. Bit of contact there. He's going to force Warwick a little bit wide there. And, well, could say he's gained that position due to that contact. As Warwick now coming under attack from Kokai and Wiseman. So, all happening here. Once again, Chee's going to go try the outside once again. He's just got to pull it up here. And he's done it. He's done it. Someone has got past him, finally. It's only taken him about 8 or 9 laps here, but they've finally got by. And Ricardo and Cox continuing their battle for race 1. A little bit further ahead, there's the cut to Turmo just as he runs it off the road. So good timing for us, not so good for Turmo. But Damon Woods, of course, up into second place. 2.8 seconds between himself and Patching. 8 laps to go. Rudy, who do you place your bets on?
His last lap was a 57.4. Damon's a 56.9. So that's, what is that, about half a second. He's got to catch him and then he's got to pass him. The other thing that concerns me essentially as well, I mean, none of them are fighting big championship picture stuff. I think that's, with that far into the season, we've got that many regular drivers that they're not going to be able to take a swing at a championship here. That and Damon with potential of being promoted permanently to supercars after this round. I don't know. They're both, from memory, they're both teammates. So does Damon let Thomas have a win, or is Damon all out there for the glory and he's going to try and have a win? I don't know. I don't think it's a case of who is faster. I think it's a case of what the dynamics are between the two drivers in these two cars.
I'd imagine they'd both race it. There's no championship really on offer for these guys, so you might as well just battle it out for a win. Obviously, don't take each other out if you can't help it, but you don't let your good mate get a win unless something untoward happens, or there's a championship on offer. And there we go, fastest lap of the race, a 56.8, which is a bit slower than what I was expecting race pace-wise from a number of these guys. Let's go a little bit further back, and oh no, Kemp is back in P6. And where is Cheese? He's down in 13th.
13th.
I got a message in the chat saying that Cheese was around. Let's have a look. So lap later, Kemp's made a move into turn 1. Cheese has gone a bit deep. Side by side through turns 1, 2, and 3. And then he's just gassed it up on the inside and looped it. So, well, that's the end of that chapter. And now it's up to Matt Cecil to try and get by Darren Kemp. And, sorry, we got Coxie. He's got ahead of Liccardo as you hear a car entering the pits. So what has happened here? May have been Liccardo just made a mistake here through 6 and 7. So here's a little bit of lag, a number of cars out there on the circuit. Yeah, just lost it coming out of turn 7, lost the traction, Cox up the inside, and there we go. But as we cut back from the replay, Cox has lost that position as Liccardo's got him on the inside at turn 1. And in the lead, we've also got Damon Woods right behind Thomas Patching.
We do, so we're going to right there. I was going to make a reference to something, but I'll wait.
He's made a mistake. And
no, he's just
let him
straight
go.
through. That was anticlimactic.
Oh, that was pretty boring. All right, so we won't, just for punishment, they're not being seen on the broadcast again for this race. So Turmo doing a good job there in 3rd place, and Liccardo and Cox continue to duke it out for 5th place. And, well, Braxton Stancliffe now has got himself ahead of Kemp. And, he's gone offensive in the final corner here, and it's going to compromise his line. And, Cecil's wide, and he would have had the run on both of them there, so he's thrown that away. And, well, now it's Kemp's turn to try and make a move. And Braxton just driving his mirrors a little bit and does say, no, you're not having the inside, Mr. Kemp. You're going to have to go the long way. A little bit of door banging between the two, but able to get through turn 1 nicely. Braxton holds on for now, but there's still 4 laps to go.
Yeah, the race you mentioned earlier, it took a little longer than you thought it would. Race 1, this has gone a little quicker just because we've had that much to cover. But yeah, 4 laps to go. Obviously, Woods now pretty comfortably in the lead, although we're not going to look at that car in the lead. Patching in second. I think the battle, the next spot that's likely to change is that battle with Liccardo and Cox for fourth and fifth. And then it's still happening. It's Kempy at the moment is seventh, but Kempy just managed to find a way of getting himself back to sixth one way or another. So I don't know. Braxton is pulling away in the distance. I don't want to put the knockers on Braxton, but Kempy seems to be pretty comfortable in sixth this race.
Yeah, 57.7 for Braxton, 58.9 for Kemp. And his fastest lap of the race is a 58.1 because he's been blocking every single lap. So he's not had any rhythm in this race. He's just been defensive or getting on the offensive after being overtaken. So still in seventh place, but he could have been a little bit closer to the leaders if he just played a little bit of a longer game here. But Cecil now, the big task in front of him to get himself into seventh place. Much better race two, but he has seen multiple times this season and in the summer series, he has a tendency to blow his tyres. A slight mistake from Kemp there at 6 as we see the Nissan of Freakish and Wiseman side by side into turn 6 as well.
Wiseman is the current battle, or the cheese there as well. That's the current battle to start from the pole position in the third race. So that is a
legitimate battle
as well. Yeah, that's a legitimate battle and one of local importance as well to the drivers in that region.
Yeah, so there is stakes up for grabs for that 10th position. Now, if you're smart in one of these guys, do you just deliberately finish behind Kemp in this, just so you can have a race where you're not stuck behind him? I mean, that's a legitimate question at this point.
As long as you also finish in the top 10, otherwise that's null and void. But yes, for the positions of Matt, Kokai, and Wiseman, yeah, this is a good spot to be for the next race because you're going to start ahead of him, and as long as you can get a better start than he can, and get through turn 1 cleaner than he does, you're good. So, yeah, there is some viable strategy at this point of the race, particularly sort of big picture in terms of getting better points for the night as a whole. As we've got the two team cars of Cheese and Freakish battling in the background. Yeah, it is probably worth for some of the guys to 8th, 9th, 10th of staying here. That said, it doesn't hurt for them to have little battles between themselves. And yeah, like the way they're sitting at the moment, you kind of also help the further back. We don't want to see anyone sandbag. We don't see a deliberate race for everyone to try and get 10th. But with Kokai and Matt, the further they are back from Kempy, the higher they'll start and further away from them they're going to start in the next race. So I don't know whether they're all going to take themselves out of the frame of racing to think that big picture, or whether they're just going to go as hard as they can and maybe luck into a good position.
As we've seen with Thomas Patching in this race, clear air is vitally important. He was able to get a good start, get ahead of Kemp, and then Kemp in third place just blocked the field for the first 5 or 6 laps and was able to get ahead. There's a big dive from Kokai, locked the rears more than anything, I think, and Cecil had to open the steering, so heads up driving from Cecil. You won't be too happy with that. I'd know, because that happened to me 5 or 6 times just in race 1 in ASC on Monday night, but he's going to try and fight back here. They're scraping each other into turn 1, and they're going to leave this time. We also have the two Nissans battling it out. We've also got Campbell Logan and Nico Mendez battling it out for 13th place, and those guys are catching up to the back of this pack as we've got... that's not Higginson, is it? Oh, he's been robbed again.
Yes.
Damon Woods has won this race, and we've got Coxey and Liccardo duking it out here, so that's something we've missed as well in this final couple of laps. It's going to be quite aptly a drag. It's going to be a drag, and Liccardo will get that position in the end there. But then we have Braxton Stancliffe, Kemp amongst the traffic. He's got Kokai right behind him, and there's Cheese around at the final corner. And there we go. It's Kemp, Kokai, Wiseman, Cecil, Freakish, Mendez, Logan, Locke, and Cheese across the start-finish line. Justin Cecil in 16th. Lucky Burke, after his ambitious, it has to be said, dive into turn 1, will come home in 17th. Taipan home in 18th. And Peter Thrower, a few seconds behind him as well. With Josh Watson there home in 20th, Aiden home in 21st, Brian Walsh in 22nd, Higginson a spin towards the end there. I think he's just overdoing his tyres there, and that's why he's driving slowly. He's got no rear tyre left. So he's home in 23rd. McLaren Boss home in 24th. Ben Hall in 25th. Smith home in 26th with Warwick and Graham, the 2 non-finishers in this one.
So I caught the back end of that with Matt Thessel and Cheese. Cheese was up the inside. They were all very excited. Cheese sort of pushed, I think it was Wiseman through into the last couple of corners as well. They were all trying to get past Matt right at the death. Cheese up the inside of Matt, and Matt's just sort of turned in. I'm not sure whether Matt was taking his line and just happened to converge with Cheese or what happened there. But the end result was Matt was across Cheese's nose. Matt managed to catch it, but it put Cheese out into the grass, and that's what pushed Cheese back a couple of spots. So I don't think Cheese will be too happy with how that race turned out. But the other thing I was going to say during that race, I didn't get a chance to, referencing the racing we saw between Cheese and Darren Kemp. You know the meme of, I forget the second character's name, but of Mo tossing one of the Simpsons characters out of the bar, and a second later he reappears behind him?
I believe that was Barney.
Barney, yes, Barney. That's, I know Lachlan Locke is around, and he is the master of the memes, it seems, in ASR, so I imagine if I share that to him later, he'll give us a pictorial version of that. But I imagine that's the reaction for Cheese, having just finally disposed of Kemp, to look around the next lap and find that, nope, he's right back there again.
Yeah.
So, Kempy just, you said it right. He's just driving. He's not driving a car. He is driving a literal brick wall. This race, and you needed to fit that analogy. You needed to find yourself a sufficiently big high jump pole to get over it.
Yep. Also, got some just from Discord here. I think this is something regarding me and talking about Nathan Higgins. And now this will demonetize the video, and I'll get a copy, or not a copyright strike, but this bit of the thing when you play it back will get muted. But I've got to play it. So this is "Pump It Up" by Danzel.
You've got to pump it up, don't you know? Pump it up. You've got to pump it up, don't you know? Pump it up. You've got to pump it up, don't you know? Pump it up. You've got to pump it up, don't you know? Pump it up.
So let's see the chat. Got to pump Higo up.
You've got to pump it up. It's not so long ago that the sound hit the nation. Every Saturday night on your favorite radio. And the party's jumping, yeah. And the vibe feels so strong. Throw your hands in the air, lift your head up high. You know you've got to sing along. Don't you know? Pump it up. You've got to pump it up. Don't you know? Pump it up.
All right, that'll do for that. But Higo, you're going to perform in this next one. I just know it. So don't worry about those haters. All right. But all right. Well, Rody, we did allude to it. I guess between races 1 and 2. Yep. Now I've just got to find the actual where I've downloaded this. So just bear with us here. So a bit of a livery reveal for next week.
Yep.
Now, Rody, this better be good because we could have been talking about just about anything here.
I know. I'm very conscious of that.
So, or we could have been pumping Nathan Higginson up and just played that full song. So,
very good. Very, we could have very much done that. Yes. So, hopefully it doesn't disappoint.
All right. So I better. I'm actually just going to download this again. It's just going to make it easier. All right. So let's just change this to details so I don't see it. And let's just have to bring up, no, not the track map. We'll have to bring up, we'll bring this up, change this, and let's have a look. This is a live reaction. So those that do know me, I do like to criticize the livery. So this could be completely ripped on here. And let's have a look. Oh yeah, so it's not bad. Not a bad livery. A bit of a DTM throwback there, Rody.
Yep.
One thing that does concern me though is the grill.
Yep.
But yeah, not too bad. and rounds off the field quite nicely. So I'll try and have a look at some of these other press release shots that have been done. So a bit more of a side-on view here. For those looking
Yeah,
at home.
to explain what's happening here, I was initially going to do those who know my full season car that Hans is now running for me. That's the 2015 Bottle car put onto a ZB, which people absolutely loved. And I was originally thinking of doing the 2013 Pepsi Max split livery, but everyone loved that even more, so I really couldn't do that. I was going to Opal Racing, and obviously this isn't. I think of the ZB as an Opal, not as a Holden. It's not a Commodore. It'd be fine as an Opal Insignia or a Holden Insignia, but it's not a Commodore. It's not what we think is a Commodore. So I went and found an old Opal Commodore livery, and that's what we come up with. And the main sponsor, LSN, you might be familiar with the initials to anyone who watches this channel because it is the Loose Sim Network.
It's good to see that it's finally got onto one of your cars. Do you
It
need
is.
to have a loose?
You've been pestering me since the start of the season to be on my car. So you have my entire car for one round.
Yep, that's fantastic. And hopefully after the Enduros, I can just have the entire car anyway. So that'd be quite good to have a PBF car with Loose Sim Sport all over it, especially after I got robbed of the team championship last year due to PBF. So not that I'm bitter or anything.
And I've got to also give a shout. I got to give a couple of guys here. Coxie for putting the renders together. Higo has done some work for this, helped me with this a little bit as well. As has Hans providing some logos, and Matt Dunlop who's done some work for me for this one as well. But big thanks to Brendan Ross who did the base design work for this car, also along with my full season car. And the 444 Designs logo you can see on the bottom right-hand corner. That was Coxie when I found that one. That is Rossi's original 444 Designs logo from back in the day. So a period, Rossi's period logo to go with his period livery. So
yeah,
no, this will be really good. And Hans Frost, the idea of running a DDM car. I'm not sure if you'll allow us to run the period correct windows or not, but we'll sort that out. But no, I'm pumped to see Hans in the car. He has just confirmed that he had plans, but he's going to fob them off regardless, and he is going to be here next week. And be really cool to see that car out there on track next week at the Supercars Retro Round.
Yeah, so at least from my end, I'd like to thank everybody that, everybody's pretty much done a retro livery, and everyone has got a really good livery. So everybody, I know Coxie's done a really good job, Higginson's done a good job, and then Foley and I think Termo, as well as Brendan Ross, have all done painted liveries as well. Everyone's done a really good job, and it's fantastic. So great job on deliveries and the designs, and it should be a fantastic round next week, of course, for the main championship. But while we're still here as well, might as well talk about another big thing that is coming up, and that is, of course, the Penrite Enduro Cup Roadie, which we've already got 20 plus cars registered. It's going to be big.
It's going to be massive. Yeah, I think I said earlier, something like 23 teams queued up for that one. And we got great support for the 500 round last year. Wasn't quite the smoothest day itself, but there was great support for the qualifying night and the top 10 shootout stream. We had I think we used Teams at the time. We had a view of some of the drivers during the race that we were able to cut to, and that was a really good event. So we're expanding that now to a 3-race format, obviously including Sandown as well, the race for the grid. It'll be cool to bring that format into the Simworld, and then back now out to Gold Coast again, which we revived last year with, again, some great work put in by yourself, so that we had a current day version of Queensland ready to go, of Gold Coast. So those two races will be, I imagine, true to real life. They will be a little bit of chaos, but and then finishing up with the traditional Bathurst race, and good to be back at Bathurst again. And we should see some really good grids of cars out there. A couple of guys coming back to defend their results from last season. A couple of new teams that are forming as well. I've already seen a couple of the Evolution Racing guys who obviously are here for Super 2 tonight. Some of them are putting their hand into running the Enduro Cup, and also just to get the support this year from both Penrite and from Ryco Filters is really good. I've run the Penrite logo on my cars for ever since I raced IRL. I was Penrite ambassador for 2017 when I raced the V. So I've always been a supporter of the Penrite product, so it's good to see that they're actually officially getting involved with what we're doing now, and Rocco Fields as well. Great Australian, New Zealand regional filters brand, and good to see them. They'll be part of the whole package as well.
Yeah, I too like to smash down a cold Penrite after a hard day of TAFE. So yeah, it should be good. Also got to thank our other sponsors. It's not just Penrite and Ryko, of course. So we will have Smith & Sons backing as well. Scott Nolan has put in a fair amount of money towards the group and towards guys like Nathan Higginson, who's put in a lot of work with getting the Mustang together, as well as something that I haven't really touched on too much, but of course the updated Sandown. So turn 6, it's going to have the proper fencing and runoff area, as well as turn 1's being reworked, the pits have been reworked, and so it's to proper scale and to proper positioning. So we've also got CRE as well, have put in money throughout the year. So we'd like to thank pretty much everybody that's come along and helped us out. Mike Coulson's another one that's donated a bit of money. Maybe not so much Supercars, but certainly put money towards the group, and that again will be open to people for the Enduro Cup if they want some advertising at certain points as well. They will be able to chip in a little bit of money and have an ad board at a couple of the circuits. So get a hold of the admin group for that one. And of course, can't forget Matt Harvey Repair and Tune as well. But we've fluffed our way through the warm-up session, Rudy, and we're about to get underway for race number 3 here from Calder, and it's going to be, I reckon, it's going to be a very interesting race, this one. And once again, the cork in the bottle, it's all going to be decided, or could be decided, by Mr. Kemp.
Exactly. Yeah. I don't think he quite realises it at this point, but he probably holds a lot more power than just being a driver in the field, because anyone who starts behind him or is stuck behind him has potential to stay behind him for the entire race. So we'll get this formation lap on the go, and I will go through the grid. So starting from pole in this race is Matt Cecil. Probably ultimately fortuitously was unable to get past one of the drivers, unable to get past Darren Kemp. Starting from second will be Tyrone Wiseman. Not a bad position to be starting on your debut in the Truck Assist Techno car. Third is Xavier Kokai. Second round for him, and good to see him up here as well, with obviously pre-mentioned Darren Kemp in fourth. Fifth is Braxton Stancliffe. Good run for him so far tonight. This is a very good chance for him if he can get past Kemp early to go for a win. Sixth will be Coxie with Lucano in seventh. Those two will be battling the entire race, we know it. Eighth is Tomo with Thomas Patching in ninth, and race 1 and 2 winner Damon Wood starting from 10th again. Freakish will be starting from 11th, with Nico Mendez debuting tonight, starting from 12th in the third race. Campbell Logan starting from 13th, doing the Team 18 car a good chunk. I haven't seen that car a whole lot so far this season, so good to see it getting some good airtime tonight, with Lachlan Locke in 14th in the GGR Team Penske Shell Falcon. He's ending up 15th in that race. He's got some ground to make up, I reckon, with Justin Cecil in 16th. Lockie Burke is one other driver who should be a little further up, starting from 17th in this race, with Taipan in 18th. Thrower starting from 19th, with Josh Watson #not last, starting from 20th. Not a bad position for Josh Watson. 21st is Aiden with Walshy in 22nd. He goes starting 23rd for this race. Another big drive for him, with Ben Hall in 24th. Finishing out the grid is Melody Smith 25th, Steve Warwick, Robbie Graham, I think has missed the start, and Zach Brown.
And Brian Walsh has somehow missed his pit box by a long way. I don't know how, but he's got sort of back in it, and he's moving around a bit. But it looks like we're about to get underway here. Once again, lights ablaze for race 3. Away we go. Aiden's already jumped the start. Couple of poor starters there at the front. Looks like Coxie's got a good start a little bit further back there in the midfield. He's jumped ahead. Kemp's had a poor start, which could really open up this race here. But now the long run to turn 1 here at Calder Park. Will we get through cleanly? And so far,
3 wide.
3 wide, 4 wide in some cases. They are going to get through. Robbie Graham's had a game freeze, unfortunately for him. As seen in the live chat, as looks like they're all getting through turns 2 and 3 fairly well, although it looks like the Team 18 car off in the grass there. But Matt Cecil leads the way. Kokai looking to make a move early.
Tanklev also jump starts, so he'll be taking a tour of the lane, so that ruins this race for Braxton, unfortunately. So the best chance he had for possibly a win tonight is going to go begging, unfortunately, for Braxton. So it's going to be a big recovery drive from him as he starts to tour the lane.
Yeah, so that's a disaster there. And now the train already forming behind Kemp. He's got patching. They did duke it out for a little bit in race number 1. And they're duking it out again here at the start of the second lap. Patching's got in front immediately. Once he's got the overlap, blocks Kemp. Kemp's going to try and send it up the inside here. And Patching gives him the space, and he's going to have to do it all over again. That's I would have just stayed on the inside there.
Yeah, he blocked off.
Oh,
and then
he's going to go the outside here, and he's going to get it. So
that was
he needed to do that.
Away. That was a nice little block pass, though. Forced Kempy to back off, so that there wasn't an accident, and that's how you do it. So he's going to have to hold this spot for another couple of corners to really lock it in. But at this point, he might be one of the first guys to get through. Freakish making a big move there, right to the back of Kempy's car, and there is now a big train forming behind Kempy. I think there's about 10, 11 cars in that train.
Yeah, so we've got 2 distinct groups now. We've got Matt Cecil all the way through to Damon Woods, and then we have Thomas Patching now out on his own. As Aiden's got himself a penalty, I'm guessing, for speeding in the pits, and he's going to come out right in front of all these guys. Right as the 2 Nissans duke it out here as they go to lap their fellow Nissan. And Kemp on the inside will hold on for now. But for how long? Again, defensive into 2, and ultra defensive there into turn 2.
Yeah, so it's now, as I said in the last race, you have to do some big picture thinking. They need to, if they're all going to try to get past Kempy, they need to give each other space behind Kempy to be able to make that pass happen. Seeing in the background, Higginson making a move up the inside of, I think, Lockie Burke back there. Those two, or actually Lockie Burke.
Yeah, what's happened? Those 2 were just duking it out there, just cut into a replay. Higginson having a look at the Team 18 car. And Burke actually just ran into the back of Higginson, and then he lost a bit of retraction at the same time. So disaster for Burke, but he's got time to get that back. And with Kemp being a massive blocking force, he could be able to get himself back into a decent position. And still, Kemp holds on to P8. And, that's going to separate pretty much 8th place down to the front of the field, where at the front, Matt Cecil still leads. He's got a little bit of a gap over Kokai, but Kokai not making it easy for those guys behind him.
The top 10 runner at points of the last round at Hidden Valley. So Kokai is in a good position. That he has already got Woods up behind him, with Liccardo behind him. Wiseman up to 5th, Coxie in 6th, and Thomas Patching now raging in the back of this battle in 7th. Kokai sort of being a bit of a junior Kemp here. I don't think he's quite had the experiences, as far as we've seen at least, in terms of defensively driving, but he has got a great little train forming behind him.
And we've got Cox and Wiseman side by side down the pit straight, so a bit feisty between those guys. And we've also got Kokai and Woods. And Woods deep on the brake, well, both of them deep on the brakes, but Woods able to hold on. And, only a matter of time before he makes his way into the lean one, would reckon. And, Wiseman's actually got back by Cox, so it just cuts a replay, and really just flat out broke Cox into turn 1, is able to hold on.
So, a little bit of a reshuffle there, the top 6 there, and...
big dive from Dane.
No, we are missing. Somebody's dropped out of that group as well. Thomas Patching, he's now down in 16th. 17th. He's...
dropping through
I don't know what happened to Thomas Patching there, but he's dropped back, which has put... Oh no, Kempy. So he put Kempy back into 7th, but Cheese in the back of Kemp in the last corner put Kemp wide. Cheese has stopped to redress, but that's knocked them both down a few spots. So put Kemp now down to 10th, holding off Justin Cecil and Nathan Higginson, with Cheese trying to buy in and have another shot at this.
Cars all over the place. With 3-4 wide here, this is a recipe for disaster here. Well, do they get through? Oh, Kemp's just locked up and forced. I think that was Higginson off the road there, and that was a cool drive. That was Hall off there at turn 1 as well. So what's happened to Hall?
The Team 18 car as well off as well, yeah.
Oh, that's the Brad Jones car straight into the back of Hall. So that was Taipan into the back of the cool drive car of Hall there. So all happening at turn 1 as you got Justin Cecil off at the flip-flop, patching right behind Lucky Lock, and Kemp looking to get back by Cheese. And they're both deep under brakes, and Kemp it's not Kemp, Higginson looking to take advantage, but he's not going to have the run there. He's not going to have the slipstream either, so he might as well just fall back in a line right behind Kemp, and then maybe even box him in here.
Yeah, he might just have him covered off here. He's trying to go around the outside.
I think
here.
that's a blown engine. From Cheese.
Bugger.
Yeah, I saw the black smoke, and that's it. That's engine done. He was having a good run this evening. He's had solid pace, but he's didn't capitalise in race 2, and now he's thrown it away with a blown engine, downshifting too much, too hard. He's got Kokai off at turn 6 and 7, and he was ahead of the truck assist car when that happened.
Cheeky move from Dane there as well. He's basically more or less pushed Matt out of the way in the last corner to make a gap for himself to get through. Well, that's something we did miss in all that as well. Damon Woods, surprise to no one, already up the lead.
I don't think Cecil will be too pleased with that.
No, he wasn't. I saw the flash of the lights. He's currently defending from Kokai, but very cheeky move there from Dane. That's probably going to get looked at afterwards.
Especially with what's been going on between those two and the Newt Sims over the week.
Yeah, there is some history this week for those two, so not the way we wanted it to come out, but yeah, at the moment, at least on track, Ricardo up to second, and he's going to try and bite into that margin that Woods has built for himself.
Oh, and Kokai deep under brakes at 6. Cecil going to just go straight back underneath, and that's also a position for Coxie. And now Kokai having to go defensive with Wiseman up the inside of the final corner, and Wiseman getting that job done.
A little bit of some buzz, but he has just got in front. The question is whether Kokai's going to go with a slipstream, and maybe they're trying to get past down the inside of turn 1. It said Wiseman is just hovering just about half a car to the right of Kokai to cover him off. But he might just have it there if he gets stopped for the corner, which he has. So I think that's at the moment, that is a pass for Wiseman. He's up to 5th. And yeah, Dane, I think, just starting to move in on the back of Woods as well.
2.3 between first and second. With the pace that Woods has shown, I don't expect that to come down, barring mistake. But now the question remains, can Cox get by Cecil quickly and then close up to the back of Ricardo? They've battled out in both the races so far. But Cecil doing a really good job at the moment. Of course, did start from I think he started from pole in this one, if memory serves me correct, which it probably doesn't, but he's doing a really good job at the moment, able to keep clear of Darren Kemp, and he's been able to build a race on it, but having to go defensive into turn 1 here, and he'll hold on for now. It's going to allow Wiseman to close up. Kokai has made a little bit of a mistake these last couple of laps, and it's just fallen away just a little bit. And
Back as well. I just want to have a look back at our ever reliable Kemp train. At the moment, Thomas Patching is up fighting Nathan Higginson for 11th. Lockie Lock and Freakish in there as well. Slightly smaller train for Kemp this time around because of that off with Cheese earlier. Has put him now outside, just inside the top 10.
And Higo getting right out sideways, and a late move over there from Patching into turn 6, so he might not be too pleased with that one, but they'll both live to fight another day, but they should really be working to try and get by Kemp here. Oh, it's once again Higginson right out sideways, out of the final corner. Now he's had tyres go on him and on the final lap in both the races so far, and driving like that's not going to help him. But you got Kemp and Patching right onto the grass down the pit straight here. And again, continuing to duke it out. Patching going to try and go the long way here. We have seen it done here in turn 2, and he's going to get it done. He's just got to make sure he's able to get through 3, and he is able to. Patching gets the job done. Now he just needs to not muck up the flip-flop.
Yep, get it through the flip-flop and make sure he's covered off that. So I think he should be good because Kemp is now going to worry about Higo and his mirrors.
Oh, and Higo's, he's going to try the Lockie Burke move. He's going to, and Patching's just come across. And, well, that's very, very awkward. Now Patching's going to try and go around the outside of the final corner again. And Kemp's gone wide himself. And out of all that, Higo might find himself back up into 10th place out of all that as they go play snakies down the drag strip. But Higo probably going to have to go defensive right to the inside here and just make sure Kemp can't get by. But we've got yellows at turn 1.
Yellow, somebody off at turn 1. It's Kokai. So he's going to drop in his battle pack actually as well now if he's not careful.
So cut to a replay. He was Turmo was alongside him, so he's dropped a bit of pace. He's moved across on Turmo right before the braking zone, and it's also cleaned up the Team 18 car. Now, that, I would have to say, is on Kokai. Right before the braking zone, rapid switch and change of direction right in front of Turmo, left him nowhere to go, and that probably shouldn't be biased in the commentary box, but from my point of view, that's going to be a hefty penalty.
I don't think it's going to be too popular with the stewards after the race, but Kokai is going to get his head down, just get back into some focus clean racing. He's now got his teammate, his JRM teammate Nathan Higginson, just behind him. Higo in turn starting to pull a little bit of a gap on Kempi, and Kempi's train as it is starting to space itself out, so losing the density Kempi's train, but yeah, good little battle now between the teammates. They've just got a couple of, I think, no, they've got a lap car in front, which is Melody Smith.
Kokai's clipped rears. No, it wasn't so much locked rears. He had the outside tyres on the grass, went to turn in and brake at the same time, and well, around he goes. Well, good for Higginson. He's able to get away from that and able to race his own race now. So Campbell Logan was involved in that well, interesting move at turn 1 as Freakish around the outside of Kemp. He's going to try a Lockie Burke manoeuvre at turn 6 and 7 and gets the job done. That's what Higginson was trying to do a lap ago. And Kemp, he's just punted him out of the way. At least that's what it looked like. And, oh, there's contact and there's Freakish a little bit wide there. We'll just cut to a replay of that one though. Let's just have a look. Did Freakish outbrake himself, or was he nudged off the circuit in the final corner? And no, that was a nudge. That was the... Yeah, a bit ambitious driving there, and oh, if I was Freakish, I wouldn't be too pleased, so that could end up in a report. So it's not been a tidy round for Kemp so far. Oh, and he's deep under brakes again. He's forced Burke off the road. He's going to have to cut the chicane, and Kemp's going to gain a position out of that. That is not smart driving. And then he's
run. He's just killed.
And then
he's still back traffic.
And yeah, this last 2 laps from Kemp, not good.
Not doing his record any favours there at Kempy. I imagine he's a bit flustered from the start of it, but he's not managing to get himself back under control, and he's I won't say he's spiralling, but it's not been a good couple of laps from
it's certainly not been good here, but what can Burke do? There's 2 Walkinshaw cars now look to get by the Nissan. Kemp right to the inside, Burke to the outside. His teammate will follow, as will Freakish. And he's going to try it here.
Freakish.
Oh, Freakish way too late on the brakes. Burke's got the overlap here. He's going to try the outside at turn 2. We've seen it pull off before. Not quite able to do it this time, and he's driven through Kemp there, and he's actually going to pull over and redress it, unlike Kemp the lap before. So it'll be frustrating for Burke, but he's doing the right thing there. But that pretty much settles... Well, it's good. I'd imagine, Rody, that's going to settle down this battle for 10th place now, with these guys probably be... Oh, what the hell happened there? Kokai, I don't know if he got served or if it was lag or something there, but he's been sent. Or he's just lost it or something. I don't know what.
Gonna go back and look at the replay of what happened there.
No, he let it up on the grass. That was all his own doing. That was a very odd one.
And that's going to have killed the engine, so that's Kokai out.
Rest in peace, Kokai. As you see, Freakish making a move on Cecil. or Justin Cecil, and he gets the job done. So Nathan Higginson doing a fantastic job in 9th place here. He's setting some absolute heaters at the moment, and he should get onto the back of Campbell Logan on lap 113 at this rate. And so we've got Logan looking to close down on Turmo in 7th. Mendez in P6. He's not too far away, well, ahead of Wiseman there, but Cecil and Cox, you saw them about 10 laps ago battling it out. We've cut back to it 10 laps later after the Kemp train, and finally Cox has got the job done.
So Coxie, I'm going to go at Matt for the last couple of laps now, and he has finally got the move done, so he can now focus on trying to get back to Dane in those last couple of laps. These guys have had different paces. They managed to find each other around the track most of these races. So maybe in this last little bit here, a chance for Dane to race. Dane probably, if I was him, he probably had a swing at trying to make a stab at Damon's pace, but not having either the pace or the tyre life. I imagine he's probably backed off a little bit at this point, just to make sure his tyres get to the end. We've seen a couple of drivers struggle with tyre life. So he's probably just measuring himself so he can finish ahead of Coxie. Dane, obviously, he would be a bit further up in the championship had he not hit some penalty points, but he's, I think, trying to
Cecil
a
is
little bit and
very deep on the brakes, so he's able to just pull it up. He doesn't need that. If he can just keep it nice and clean, he doesn't have to overdrive it. He can still pick up a very good 4th place. It's been a very up and down season for Matt Cecil, but he's done a really good job here in race number 3. And now Coxie can just focus on his own race. His championship rival, Kemp, is down in 19th, I'd imagine. That'll probably move Cox into the championship lead if things stay the way they are, and if my maths isn't completely busted, which it probably
I would
is.
think so. I saw what happened to Kemp earlier. Insult to injury. Slightly wrong move down the side of turn 1. I think he ended up coming off of someone's nose and going very deep in the braking zone. So not the race Kemp he would have wanted, not only from the point of stewarding, but yeah, this is going to have championship implications for him as well.
Yeah, there's going to be a drama here. But got a nice little battle pack here for 11th place. Freakish hasn't been able to drop the 2 DJR Team Penske cars, and Lockie Locke's got a good run on his teammate Justin Cecil here. Not really staying in the slipstream, which is a little bit odd there, but he's going to have a look into turn 1. Not quite close enough, but these guys are going to duke it out to the end here. For what is closer battles on
turn 2 curb. But no, I think from these two, just going to be some fairly smooth and controlled racing probably for the next little bit. They do have a car in front, obviously, of Freakish.
Here we go. We got McLaren team boss looking to overtake Ben Hall. Not quite close enough to stick his nose in at turn 7 here. These guys look like they're actually closing in on the cars in front as well. Behind them, they've got Taipan and a recovering Lockie Burke, and Peter Thrower in 18th, Kemp 19th, with Steve Warwick, Watson, and Braxton Stancliffe making a move on Josh Watson there. Taipan now under threat. Not really fighting Lockie Burke too much. Burke faster all weekend. Burke up the inside and a little bit of contact. Taipan with the old switcheroo, and he'll have the inside for turn 2. Burke going to try and hold on around the outside. He's got the overlap, but Taipan will have the run, and Burke will have to hold on to 18th place or 17th place for now. It's starting to peter out just a little bit here at the moment, but we do have the battle for 4th place now, Rhodey, with Matt Cecil. Is that a poor lap on that last lap? 59.9, and now he's got to contend with Wiseman and Mendez.
So it would have been like he could still get there 4th, which is a good run. Generally, it's a good run for Matt. But yeah,
super run from Mendez here.
He's got a massive run through the chicane. Obviously, not blocked by the 2 cars in front.
Oh, he's been nudged though by the Techno car, and he's going to cut the chicane. And yeah, I'd probably do the same thing, to be fair.
Yeah, he just needs to. I don't know. Actually, I think he is probably entitled to stay where he is. I think he's probably
He's
trying to
run
redress
wide
to
again.
Nico, not
Maybe
to Wise.
his tyre may have gone as well.
I know he looked. I think he was just trying to redress so that he could get back in between Mendez and Wiseman. So he's going to try and hold off Wiseman for the last lap, and we're there already. Just holding the outside of turn one here. Probably looking. I don't think Wiseman to go a little wide. No, he's just tucked in underneath, and
It's got the position. Maybe Cecil's just ran out of rear tyre.
yeah, I'd say possibly he might be. It might be in a stage where he's really having to conserve some tyre
He's got
because
his teammate right behind him too now.
He's got Emo now right behind him as well, looking probably to make a pass into the right hand at the end of the straight. And yeah, Matt, big cut of the chicane there. Obviously, I would have given him a track cut, but I'm guessing his tyres really
Now,
are
leader
not
has
the battle too much.
And the leader's crossed the start-finish line. Woods will take 3 from 3. And Liccardo will come home 10 seconds adrift in second. Coxey will come home in third place in what could prove to be a pivotal race in the championship. And in fourth place, Nico Mendez taking it on the penultimate lap. Well, the final lap. Termo, in fact, taking Wiseman on that final lap there as well. Cecil, unfortunately, coming home in 7th, but a really good run from him. Campbell Logan, another good run home in P8. Thomas Patching recovering to P9 in the end. Higo with a top 10. He's back, boys. He is back. And dragged to the line between Freakish, Justin, Cecil, and Lockie Lock. We'll cut to a replay of that. Why not? It was nice and close here. Look at the two Penske cars battling it out for the minor placings, and that's the way it should be. And both leaning on each other coming out of the final corner. And who got it in the end? Ooh, just held on there. Did Justin Cecil ahead of Lucky Lock. And Taipan just holding on ahead of Lockie Burke, Peter Thrower, and Ben Hall. Darren Kemp home in 18th ahead of Zach Brown. He must have made a late mistake. Steve Warwick home in 20th. Josh Watson home in 21st. Hashtag not last. Braxton Stancliffe recovering to 22nd after his jump start drive through. Brian Walsh in 23rd. Melody Smith 1 lap down. So progressively getting better as the races went on. With Kokai, Cheese, Aiden, all non-finishers. With, of course, Graham there, unfortunately having a game freeze just before the start of the race. But
So that was some really good racing. He did peter out a little bit towards the end there, obviously with the Kemp train suffering a derailment. But no, that was still some really good racing, and I hope this is a round that all 28, 29 drivers have come away from enjoying.
yeah, certainly going to be very, very interesting. I think some people are going to be quite happy, others quite grumpy. There won't be drivers' interviews tonight. I wasn't too pleased with some of the driving out there, so I do not want to talk to any of the drivers. So, plus it's also been pretty hectic as well in the commentary box. So, won't go too much deeper, but we will. I would assume the championship standings have been done by our man Scott Nolan, which they have. Well, they haven't yet. There's still a couple of the placings to get sorted here. But as it stands, Daniel Cox, his points have been done, and he's on 1,584 points. Just waiting here. A couple more positions to get updated, and should sort itself out. But Liccardo also bringing himself back into championship contention as well there with these results. He's on 15.06, so he's only 78 points away from Daniel Cox. And, Cox now in the championship lead, so that has been updated. Cox on 15.84, Kemp on 15.51, and that one, Rudy, I think pivotal in this championship battle for what is the pinnacle of pixel car motor racing sport.
Yeah, not only the immediate points lost we can see for Kemp. I don't think Kemp's going to walk away with full points from maybe the third race that he would have scored even for his finish mission, because there was some stuff there that will be looked at as we go through. But They only cut up to 30. He's actually now somewhat within range of these guys. He's just ahead of Turbo to the tune of 3 points. Braxton Staincliffe, not the best night for him, but he's still holding on to fifth pretty well in front of Cheese. Matt Thessel up to seventh, Pete Thrower in eighth, Freakish in ninth, and Taipan running out the top 10. And of the some of the other drivers through the field, just to give an idea of what the consistency gets you, we've got 40 drivers currently that have any points to their name. Josh Watson, hashtag not last, currently sitting in 16th.
Yeah, so certainly not last out there. I'm trying to think if he's actually... Where are we? Josh Watson. So he's had... Ever since he missed the first round at Simmons Plains, and after that, he has made every race, and he's finished every one of them. So you can't be last, really, in Super 2, because generally you do get the... most races you'll get one DNF. If you finish every single race, you're giving yourself the best opportunity not to be last. And he's finished every race he's competed in. And at the same time, he may not be the fastest guy out there, Rody, but he's showing a few guys out there that if you just go out there and not make mistakes, you can pick up some points.
Exactly. The same approach that I took into the last couple of seasons of Supercars racing, is I never had the performance of everyone else, particularly this year. It was at least me and Ben Hall at the back, and then a pretty comfortable margin to whoever's in front. So I was never going to get any points by finishing well. I just had to keep finishing, and that's only ever been my goal with Supercars racing, up until the point where obviously I've stepped back from the car and given it to Hans. Is that just the way to get points? And I've done finished well in championship, end of season championships, because I just kept plugging away. And if you're someone without pace, and that's just my advice to you generally, if you're someone without pace, or without sort of the pace of the guys around you when you're watching, you're thinking big picture, you're thinking championships, just keep turning up, just keep racing. And you might get lucky as well, because being on track and keeping it clean, you can benefit off of those mistakes. Case in point, just in terms of where Josh's best finish was, that was the first race last round at Hidden Valley, where he finished 13th. That would have been because he was there on the day, but that would have been because he was there to benefit from other unfortunate things that happened around him. So you've just got to keep racing, just keep trying. And not only will you get some points, you'll also get valuable experience that will build your pace as you go along.
Yeah, so doing a nice, solid job. And I think the main thing is hopefully he's just enjoying it. That's all we want people to do here, is just go out there and just enjoy themselves, race each other cleanly, and just have fun. So if he's having fun, then you can't be a loser if you're enjoying your time. So he's doing a good job. Most of the drivers out there doing a pretty good job this evening, though there were some interesting moments. But we'll just go over through the remainder of the schedule here for Super 2, and then we'll quickly again gloss over what is coming up in ASR. So that is Calder Park done and dusted. Next round will be on the 6th of August with Sydney Motorsport Park, which road I expect to be... Well, it's not going to be as close as Calder, I'll put it that way. I think it's going to be... You're going to see some pretty large discrepancies between, the front of the field, the midfield, and then the back of the pack there.
Yeah, S&P is a track. Some people... I don't think any track doesn't have fans, but it's one of those tracks that's definitely you like it or you don't like it. I know Luke Rosella, we mentioned him earlier with his frothing of Long Beach. He is not a fan of Eastern Creek at all. Doesn't really matter because he doesn't race the championship. But a couple of guys out there not a fan of the Eastern Creek works. I'm not one way or another on the track. It does produce. It is a good track to drive around. Does produce some good racing, and it would definitely much more complex track than we've seen tonight. So the field spread I would expect to be a little bigger.
In fact, looking at all the calendar so far, it's probably the most complex circuit that they will have come across up until probably Adelaide, or even, well, it would be. I'd say on the calendar right there, it'd be more technical than what Adelaide would be, and certainly with Townsville as well. So it's the most difficult circuit on the calendar. A lot of corners to get it wrong, a lot of wrong lines that you could sort of get off by a couple mil each way and stuff you up, and you can mess your braking points up. And then another thing as well, Rody, tyre wear. It's going to be quite crucial. Going to be very, very interesting. Of course, the championship, it's wide open once again. It's changed hands for the first time, I think, since round 2 or 3. it can be very, very interesting. And then, of course, we do have the makeup round of Adelaide a few weeks after that. Can't read it on my screen because it's very, very small there in Adelaide. Deep into August, 5th of November, Calder Park Raceway, which I'm sure the Kiwis are hanging out for. And, of course, the season finale at Reed Park Street Circuit, aka Townsville. And Rody, we've had some good racing there in the past, and with the way the championship's going, we could see a 3, 4, maybe even 5 car, if we're lucky, championship battle going down to the wire.
Yeah, I think so. We've still a lot to play out, and it depends on even some of these newer drivers that have come in where they'll fall out. Maybe not championship contenders as a whole, but they will mix up the order. And all it takes is a bad night, like we saw some of the championship contenders tonight, to really shuffle things up. So, yeah, we've had a close championship all season, and I wouldn't be surprised if we come into the last round with 3 or 4 drivers. Definitely in a range of it going down to sort of the final race or final 2 races, which is what we want to see.
Yeah, that is ideal. That's what we want to see. But might as well go and plug some of the other series that we do have running. So again, we'll just reiterate the Enduro Cup. There are a number of drivers looking for co-drivers, and if you've got a buddy as well, feel free to register your car. There is the Ford Mustang, brand new model, of course, that we've brought in from Hum 3D, thanks to the work of Nathan Higginson, and the Nissan Altima, as well as the Holden ZB Commodore, aka the Opel Door, to the simpletons out there, are available. 3 rounds for that one. Separate championship. There will be prizes on offer for those that do place well in the Enduro Cup. And of course, we do have the upcoming Super Series. Once I find the graphic, there we go. And of course, very packed out already. So if you do want to race in that one, 2 classes available, the Lancer R and the Lancer RS. The RS being a little bit faster, about 10 Ks, 10, 12 Ks on the straights faster than the R. But those things are good fun to drive, being 4-wheel drive, plenty of grip. You get it sideways, just plant your right foot on the accelerator and power your way out of it. So should see some good racing in that one. That starts on the 10th of August at Malala Motorsport Park, which I reckon is going to be a great little circuit for those cars. And of course, we do have the Aussie racing cars as well. Once I find this goddamn graphic, there it is. Of course, that is random draw with the circuit, so we don't have people sweating it out with all the practice. That starts on the 3rd of August, and those two both running on Tuesday nights, run each 2 weeks on alternating Tuesdays. So probably not too, there's not too many spots in the ARCs as well, with only the guest cars available in those things at the moment, or the stock livery cars anyway. So there is that, and there's also GT3s. I don't have the graphic for that. That runs on some Saturday nights. Again, see the Facebook page as well as the Discord, the Australasian Sim Racing Facebook page, which will have a link to the Discord in there as well. But Rody, thanks for once again jumping in the box. Some good racing, some interesting racing, and some bent panels and blown engines in tonight's racing.
Absolutely. No, it was going to be chaos one or another, having the full grid, which we allowed for but never quite expected. It was going to be chaos having all 29 cars on the grid at once, and I think in the end it could have gone worse. We could have seen Gold Coast IRL levels of chaos. We didn't quite get there, but now a couple of drivers, some great performances tonight. A couple of drivers as well who probably just need to look back at this and just start planning on where to go from here.
Yeah, certainly. But I felt that we need to end the stream on a really positive note. So put your hands in the air for once again, Denzel, and pump it up for Nathan Higginson.
You've got to pump it up, don't you know? Pump it up. You've got to pump it up, don't you know? Pump it up. You've got to pump it up, don't you know? Pump it up. You've got to pump it up, don't you know? Pump it up. You've got to nation. Every Saturday night on your favorite radio. And the party's jumping, yeah, and the vibe feels so strong. Throw your hands in the air, lift your head up high. You know you've got to sing along. Don't you know, pump it up. You've got to pump it up. Don't you know, pump it up. You've got to pump it up. Don't you know, pump it up. You've got to pump it up. Don't you know, pump it up. You've got to pump it up. It's not so long ago that the sound hit the nation. Every Saturday night on your favorite radio. And the party's jumping, yeah, and the vibe feels so strong. Throw your hands in the air, lift your head up high. You know you've got to sing along. Don't you know, pump it up. You've got to pump it up. Don't you know, pump it up. You've got to pump it up. Don't you know, pump it up. You've got to pump it up. Don't you know, pump it up. You've got to pump it up. Don't you know, pump it up. You've got to pump it up. Don't you know, pump it up. You've got to pump it up. Don't you know, pump it up. You've got to pump it up. Don't you know, pump it up. You've got to pump it up. Got to feel it. What's the name of the jam? Say I can feel it. You know you can. I've got my groove on, and I'm ready to go. Check out my ride, girl, but don't touch my radio. Don't you know, pump it up. You've got to pump it up. Don't you know, pump it up. You've got to pump it up. Don't you know, pump it up. You've got to pump it up. Don't you know, pump it up. You've got to